Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live episode of the Outlaw Nation Show here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw, John Rocha. I got the hat to prove it, damn it. The hat, the winning hat from Friday night. I hope you watched me in the Schmoedown taking on the great Liz Shannon Miller, Lightning Liz Shannon Miller, managed by the diminutive one, Sam Levine. It was a hell of a match. A lot of fun, and I'm still, in the afterglow of that victory, but already looking forward to taking down the suited one, the smirky one, the lost in the 80s but can't answer an 80s question one, Ben Bateman. Heard he analyzed my match the other yesterday night or the other night on one of his shows. Yeah, greatness, that's how it works. You know, when the lessers have to watch the great ones in order to achieve the level of greatness, and I understand that and I respect that. Good luck to Ben Bateman. Whenever we meet in the ring, it's going to be nasty. You know it, brother, man. We're going to tear it up and have some fun. So anyway, speaking of tearing it up, having fun, how are you all doing? Are you doing okay? Are you getting out there? Are you getting vaccinated? Are you sensing that the world is going back to the way it was a little bit? I've gotten out of my car twice now. In the whole year, I have not done this. I've gotten out of my car twice now without my mask. I've actually walked into a store without my mask on, realized I didn't have my mask on, and ran back to my car to put my mask on. No one has told me to not wear my mask, and that may be because I live in an area that's got a little bit of a red state influence to it, so people aren't going to necessarily tell me to put on my mask. But I walked into the Costco this morning without my mask on. I was 10 feet in, admiring the 77-inch LG television that I cannot afford, and all of a sudden it occurred to me that I wasn't wearing my mask. I turned in shock and horror. And all these people were very kind. None of them said anything. They're very kind, wearing their masks, doing their shopping. And I walked up to the young lady up there at the Costco entrance, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I do not. I'm going to run out to my car. I'm going to get my mask. She said, oh, honey, don't you worry about it. We got masks for everybody. She pulled one out, got me an N95 mask, and I was able to shop comfortably in Costco. And yes, I like to walk around Costco. Kiss my ass. I'm from a suburb in Virginia, and I enjoy it. It makes me feel like I'm back home in Virginia when I walk around a Costco. My girlfriend can't understand it. A lot of people can't understand it, but I'm in love with consumerism sometimes. And on some days, I just want to take a walk around the Costco. I don't even eat the food items. I just walk around and I see what's new. What's new at the Costco? What do they got? And I love it. And some of you do that too for your own separate stores or your own separate places that you go to. We all have that, like an escape a little bit, a place of comfort and what have you. So, whatever's your Costco, I respect it. So respect mine. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on here. I'm so excited to have this great guest tonight. She is back after some time. We'll introduce her in just a little bit, but I'm excited to have VideoDrew back on the Outlaw Nation Show. It's been a while. So we're going to get into a lot of things tonight, talk about so many different things. Musical theater, probably her writing for Rotten Tomatoes, the movies. I'm Team Kong over here. Thank you so much. Got this shirt from Warner Brothers. They sent me a package. I'm going to put that up on Instagram tomorrow, take a nice little picture. But I thought I'd try out the shirt tonight. I am Team Kong, Team King Kong for the Finstock Exchange. She knows what I'm talking about, Team King Kong. But yeah, I'm so excited to see the movie. It's coming out this week, Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm going to have my review up probably tomorrow or Thursday for you all to let you know if it's worth your time to watch on HBO Max or go to the theater. A lot of theaters are opening, right? The IMAX is open. A lot of these other theaters are open, so it's a good time for everybody. So incredible fun that things are slowly getting back to normal. And judging from the box office last week of Godzilla vs. Kong, it looks like people do want to go back to these movie theaters at the capacity that they can take people back into these movie theaters. So it'll be something to see how this whole summer season turns out now that we've got a correct president in office who knows how to dole out the vaccine correctly so that a majority of Americans can have access to this thing and feel comfortable and get back to work. Jesus, that could have happened a while ago, but oh well. We should be happy that it's happening now. Anyway, I hope you all are doing well. Hope you all are having good times in your lives and what have you. Just a little update on the Outlaw Nation channel. We've crossed 16,600 subscribers. Thank you all so much for coming aboard this little outlet that could. Also, I had a really great meeting today with a podcast service that loves my content, reached out to me, set up a meeting, and just maybe I might have a big announcement coming soon for some of my content migrating over to this other podcast channel, this other podcast stream that will have more support behind it, ads possibly, and a lot of resources for me to use to build up the Outlaw Nation brand even more. Aisha Kenya said 20,000 subscribers by June or July. So I'm trying to make that dream come true for me and for her. But yeah, that's the things that I've got going on. Also, remember tomorrow, Geek Buddies, new episode of Geek Buddies is dropping tomorrow. It's dropping Thursday. Tomorrow, a live The Jedi Way is happening at 5 o'clock. Me and Laura Kelly talking about the Kenobi news, the Bad Batch trailer, nerding out on Star Wars all over the place. So join us tomorrow, 5 to 6:30 p.m. And of course, Impolite Truths on Thursday nights. We might have some announcements on Impolite Truths as well about Impolite Truths and what the next iteration of that show is going to be. And I think that's everything. And then Friday, SDN Live, I'm sure. And then Saturday, Strong Style with me and Aaron Turner. So that's what's going on here in the Outlaw Nation. I hope you all are doing okay. Enough chitter-chatter, enough jibba-jabba, enough small talk. Let's bring on the big talk. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show someone who I've gotten to know over the last couple of years and always enjoyed her company. Always been amazed at the incredible points of view she has on a lot of subjects. We've sang at times some musical theater. We've talked about the world of politics, talked about the world in general. And I've always enjoyed having conversations with her because she's incredibly intelligent. And I'm proud to call her my friend. And ladies and gentlemen, she is a writer on the Rotten Tomatoes network. It's going on over there on Peacock. The show is called Rotten Tomatoes Essentials. She writes on that show. It's hosted by Mark Ellis there. You guys know Mark Ellis, of course. She's the host of the VideoDrew experience on YouTube. She's the co-host of Cinema Bias. She's a one of a kind. And you guys are in for a treat tonight because it's been a bit since we've seen each other. So we're going to catch up like crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome VideoDrew to the Outlaw Nation show. Hi, Video.
Hi. Oh, gosh, I miss being called Video. Hi, how
are you? How are things? You look great. You look fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, this is like the most normal I've looked. I'm one of these people who's coming out of quarantine being like, oh, no, I've centered myself. This is everyone else has gone to VideoDrew status, and now I'm normal. Wow. I don't know.
Well, that makes sense because you're always against the grain. You're always unique in that way. So when everyone else is flipping out, putting on different colors, putting on crazy shirts and creating their own logos, you're kind of going the straight and narrow now to kind of counter that. So I appreciate that madly.
Yeah, no, I mean, next time you see me, I'm going to be like in a 3-piece suit. I'm going to be like Miranda Priestley in Devil Wears Prada. I'm just going to be like, get me steak.
How are things going in your world right now? I mean, as I mentioned here, a lot of stuff is slowly kind of going back to normal. Do you sense that the country is kind of slowly moving towards trying to go back to normal? Already the people are going to eat indoors. The movie theaters are opening. People are over talking about stadiums, going to see games and what have you. What's your feeling? What do you sense in the universe, the universal wavelengths? What are they telling you?
Yeah. Well, I am very in tune to those wavelengths. So thanks for pointing that out, Rocha.
Of course.
I will say I don't know if there's going to be a normal. Like, I don't think there's going to be like a thing where one day it's going to feel like, okay, now it's time for us to go live back our normal lives. First of all, we're all so traumatized after a year of this that there is no going to be like a day that feels comfortable for us to be in public again. I think for a lot of us, we're going to have a lot of PTSD that we're going to have to deal with, like a lot of trauma that this past year has brought to us. I also believe that, I'm not sure if you've been watching this QAnon documentary, but it is.
Yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't.
Yeah. Talk about horrifying.
I think this is going to be my Sunday. This upcoming Sunday, I'm going to catch up on all the episodes. I've been so busy every weekend. But talk to me.
It's so good. I mean, there's something about, at first I was like, I'm not on the sure, what this really documentary is about. But really what it's about is, kind of trying to find the people that are behind it and showing you that, this whole cult, this whole thing that's been brought up, was the brainchild, or at least had its genesis in something awful forums and 4chan and places that really proliferate child pornography and stuff like that. So it's the idea that this is the Q is some big bastion of this, revealing all these secrets about the global cabal that eats baby blood. And it's ridiculous. And, I'm somebody who's, can you imagine, very much into cult stuff and into how cult mentality happens. And so this whole thing has been really eye-opening for me. And I don't know if half the country can come back from how crazy everything became because of a myriad of factors. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great point you bring up. And yeah, you talk about cults and serial killers. I have never watched more of that stuff this year, over the last 12 months than I have in my entire life. It's insane how much I've watched over the last 12 months. I know Saturday Night Live did a very funny sketch about it a few weeks ago, and they were absolutely right. I mean, my girlfriend showed it to me, the Lady Outlaw, and I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely our lives. Like right now we're watching that John Wayne Gacy one on Peacock. That's a great series. We're 2 episodes in. It's mind-blowing watching that series. So
this is what I'm saying. You guys all became very VideoDrew. This is the stuff I was already. You want to talk to me about Gacy? Let's talk Gacy. You want to talk Manson? Let's talk Manson. Richard Ramirez. I can do the whole thing. I'm not only just a white girl who loves true crime stuff because that's its own subset, but I'm also like a girl who's always been very obsessed with cults and like cult mentality and how normal people, like a lot of people from different, depends on the cult, but like, these are not always stupid people. These are not always like brainwashed people at the beginning. These are smart, educated people who come from good backgrounds. A lot of time, the Nexium cult documentary was a very good example of that.
Oh yeah.
I think we're at such an interesting point in the world right now to look at the exact circumstances, the exact right conditions that had to lead to QAnon proliferating. Like it had to be this exact thing where people were isolated, home alone, being fed misinformation about vaccines, and it just had to be this perfect storm. People in the future are going to write the ultimate, sociological, anthropology. Nope, not even going to try to say it. They're going to write the ultimate book about how this period of time was so needed to be this cluster of symptoms in order for this craziness to prosper.
Would that be you? Would you write a book like that? I mean, you're a writer, Drew. Wouldn't you be writing a book like this? You've got an analytical brain that's bar none. So wouldn't you be able to write something like this?
I think I would need somebody who has a sociological or more of a background, almost like somebody who has a background that's more scientific than mine, because mine is more like the big idea stuff. But then, I would love to go interview people and go do that groundwork. Before I did a lot of this, I was like a journalist for very many years.
Yes.
It's crazy, but I was, and I would have loved to do this broad reaching piece. But I mean, even before this was happening, I was doing a piece about how, even before COVID, about how people think they're living with their crazy roommate. Everyone in this generation thinks they have the crazy roommate. But in fact, what we have is a generation that wasn't supposed to be living with people this far into their adulthood life and never had any classes, or were told by their parents that this is how they were going to have to interact with strangers into their mid 40s, mid 50s sometimes. And it's just an unnatural circumstance that has led a lot of people to think, well, my roommate's the crazy one. In fact, it's the crazy of the situation. It's the gig economy. It's the lack of affordable health care. It's a bunch of confluence of factors.
Would you say that you're surprised that we've survived it? I would say as well as we have. I mean, it's a shame now we're getting these shootings happening more as people are getting back out there and getting back surrounded by people. But it seemed to be something that could have broke us, but we seem to have survived, even though we did lose over 500,000 people, which is horrible. And from mismanagement, and as we saw over the weekend in 60 Minutes, incredibly terrible decisions from people in charge. But are you surprised at how we've been able to not kill each other at this time or during this time in mass ways? Even after January 6th insurrection, we didn't go crazy in the streets. What do you think?
I think that's what most surprised me, is that January 6th didn't turn out differently, because I called January 6th a mile away. I was surprised we even had elections. I thought they were just going to shut that whole thing down. I was sure that I didn't know it was going to happen on January 6th, but I thought that this was absolutely going to be a revolution in the streets, and that we were no longer going to be democracy. I cannot believe that we had an election in which Biden was confirmed as president. I cannot believe it. I still cannot believe it. That is such a beacon of hope in such a darker time. But, I really thought we'd be on our way to The Road or some dystopian future by now. But I've been prepping for that. I've been, even before the COVID, I was housebound for a year or two, sort of locked in my own head for a while and going increasingly nuts. So I feel like I had a very good head start about what this would be like. So this actually hasn't been that hard to get through the whole COVID situation. I've actually had the Schmoedown specifically, and the starting my own channel, and the support that I've gotten from friends and family and relationships here have been amazing. So I'm surprised that I've survived this well, and I'm also really impressed that like this country is somewhat still holding together.
Yeah, I think at the core, most human beings, regardless of nationality or what landmass you were born on, most human beings have a desire to survive and a desire to survive in mass. And so those instincts, it felt like those instincts kicked in as we were going forward. Yes, were there idiots not wearing masks? Were there idiots going in super spreader events and showing up at those functions and whatever to try to be, to try to pretend like they're tough? Yes, but overall, I think a majority of Americans didn't do that, or a majority of humans didn't do that. And that's one of the reasons why this didn't get as out of control as it could have gotten. Right? Because the hubris and arrogance could have been the overwhelming point of view. And I think that would have sent us into the road for sure.
Well, thank God, like almost the horrible things that did happen during this period, like the attention on like the Black Lives Matter movement and just showing just how awful the system's been, not just for this one period of time, but it's always been this messed up. And it's a privilege that we had the privilege not to realize that, or I had the privilege not to realize how bad things have gotten. The anti-Asian sentiment here in the U.S. I had the privilege of not realizing how bad it is. The immigrant Mexican condition, like I had no idea really. I was one of those people that during like last summer, I was like that white girl that was getting like shook to things that cops weren't the good guys. Yeah. So I think in one way, I think this has become a great learning experience that I think a lot of people have been willing to see. Oh, wait, on this February 6th, you notice that they're treating those people differently than they treat those peaceful protesters for Black Lives Matter over the summer. Like anyone can see that's the stark reality of America, and it's been the stark reality of America. Yeah,
and we're saying that right in the middle, or right as the George Floyd trial is starting here for Derek Chauvin and the stuff that he pulled on George Floyd, and they increased the time from 8:46 to I think 9:23 now that he was on George Floyd's neck. So like there's nothing that can be denied anymore from anyone with a remotely open mind about the two systems of justice that are around in our world, sadly. And if anything comes out of this time being hibernated is that we see once and for all, for the people who actually are open-minded to it and not stubbornly steadfast in believing there can possibly be no situation where a police officer is in the wrong, that there are things that need to change systemically from the inside out. Do you trust that will happen over the next few years, or do you think we'll just kind of blow past it again now that we're all kind of trying to go back to normal?
The cop thing is so hard. I think what's great is that there's been this thing now where it's almost impossible for them to hide what's happening. Like everything is being filmed, everything is, and whether or not, if those people aren't convicted, and a lot of times they're not, and that's just the unfortunate. A lot of times it doesn't even get past the grand jury stage. But now we have evidence of it, and now like what people are getting on the stand, and you see this 9-year-old, 7-year-old kid taking the stand and being like, they wouldn't let go of his neck. They try to tackle, like the EMTs try to tackle this guy off the net, like his neck, and he wouldn't leave. And they're not even going to cross-examine her because, like, what is there to say to a child who's witnessed that? I hope it gets better. The stuff at the border seems like it's just still getting worse, and not even under Biden are things getting better. And that's a huge issue. But, I think the awareness, just the sheer amount of footage will help sway any sane person if there are any of those left.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about, speaking of film, let's make a transition here. Sure. We've all been sitting at home for over the year now, and studios have adapted and adjusted. Have you been surprised at how the studios have figured this out after a couple of months of kicking the can down the road with these premieres of these movies? Then when they realized they couldn't release these in the theaters, have you been surprised how quickly they've transitioned into streaming services and embraced it? And all these movies that are coming out now over the last few months as a wave of titles and movies and what have you. Have you been surprised by that?
Sort of surprised. I was always more of a TV person. I always came from everything from more of a TV is the new media of choice. Like it really has an ability to do long-term storytelling. The way that I feel like you watch WandaVision and you're able to see exactly what that means, how you're able to tell and more intimate but longer form story. Like, but there's so many good shows like that, and so now the barriers become a little blurrier, right?
Yeah.
So you're watching these things and you're like, well, this could be like I have a problem trying to watch the Snyder Cut, but if I imagine it as a mini series, like, that makes it easier for me.
Yeah.
That being said, I finally got to go to a theater and see a embargoed movie that's coming out soon, and it was the best experience. Like, going back to that theater was like, I didn't know how much I missed it until I was there.
Nice. Are you covering things for anybody, or are you just writing for Rotten Tomatoes is essential at this point?
I mean, I'm not covering anything necessarily. Like, the writing I'm doing for Rotten Tomatoes is I write for a couple shows now that they have this OTT. So if you have Peacock, you can see that they have a bunch of channels. One of them is Rotten Tomatoes. And one of them is like called RT Essentials, which is like basically a listicle show, like best stoner movies of like of the century, or best 90s movies or whatever. Yeah. And I write scripts for them, and Mark Ellis reads them, and they're actually hilariously funny. It's my first time ever trying to do scripts, so I'm really lucky that I got this opportunity. I write a couple shows called The Catch-Up, which is like a bi-weekly like news catch-up show about stuff. It's actually been really helpful in terms of like Schmoedown knowledge, because I'm just doing like 1930s Oscars. Now I know. But you know, right now I've been kind of like weirdly focused on trying to find like the balance of what my career used to be, which was like an entertainment editor of a big magazine newspaper, of which, you know, screeners, debuts, premieres, everything. Right. And then a couple years off and, you know, just kind of hodgepodging stuff together. And now realizing like, I really like the ability to just kind of stop, think, and go, okay, what am I really interested in? Like, what are my priorities? My priorities, writing scripts, which is something I've always really loved doing. Is it about writing about movies? Is it about writing stuff in the VideoDrew universe? You know, so it's been it hasn't been like focused on those kind of goals that I probably should be making of like, well, by this point I want to have this many X subscribers and I want to be able to be in the industry, the person getting the screeners. But it's been way less that and more like you know, trying to find what brings me bliss, I guess is one of those things.
I feel like a lot of people have gone through that, VideoDrew. Don't you sense that? Like, a lot of people have been feeling like they need to take stock of themselves in this time at home. I mean, relationships have broken up and relationships have strengthened because if the core was there of a real connection, it endured this time in ways that it hadn't endured this time or endured in the past. And I sense that that's a really interesting point. A lot of people are taking stock of themselves, taking a look at what they actually want to create. We may be in the next few years of an incredible explosion of creativity and knowledge. I mean, on my side, we've already seen some interesting changes happening in our world in the entertainment side of things. So why not in other areas as well, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree totally. I also don't like that thing where it's like, I feel a lot of people I know are putting pressure on themselves that like, oh, I had a year to create.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, you know, and it's sort of like, no, you can use this period however you want. If you didn't create anything this year, that's fine. It was an insane year. You might be able to draw on your experiences on some later date. We will see probably a explosion of creativity. I haven't seen anything that was created during the pandemic that's really spoken to me so far as, you know, but a lot of culture right now, it feels like watching stuff. It's like, I read a review of WandaVision, which is like, of course, WandaVision speaks to us right now because it is all a throwback to different times. And we understand that what's going on is that she's living through unsafe times and uncomfortable times, and she's using her nostalgia and like the comfort of nostalgia to reimagine better times, which is why we're all watching The Office and we're all watching stuff about, you know, pop culture that no longer really applies to what our lives are like, because none of us are going to movies or, you know, hanging out in our coffee shops or going to get beers with friends. But those are the things that make us comfortable to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. What about film wise? Have you been able to like spend time with some of the films, the last few months of films that have come out here? I mean, we've seen so many incredible filmmakers, Chloe Zhao, Emerald Fennel, Lee Isaac Chung, so many interesting, The Sound of Metal, that film that came out, The Sound of Metal. There's been so many interesting films and filmmakers that have come out around the last few months. Do you sense, are we like getting that Ritz cracker after we've been starved in the desert? Or do you sense that these filmmakers would have been as revered and as the beloved, and their work would have been as beloved as it has been over the last few months?
Well, it's interesting you point that out. I mean, when we look at last year, what was getting a lot of credit was like Parasite, and last time we had an Academy Award, it was like a Parasite, Joker, a bunch. It's a bunch of stuff all over the board. But I feel like what's going to be interesting about this Oscars, or at least what we're finding in terms of what we're interested in, I think Promising Young Woman is a great example. It's a very polarizing film. But for a debut, filmmaker debut, I think it tackles so many, and I don't think it's a perfect film by any means. Right. And I think I could go into like my issues with it, but I do think it does something really interesting, and it brings a really interesting conversation into the mix about the kinds of people, like nobody has a narrative of self in which they're a villain, or that they're a rapist or a bad guy. So it's like, how these systemic roles that we allow men to occupy in society, like how is that the real issue here? And like, and things to deal with there. And I think that was great. I've been watching a ton of, Black cinema, which is not something I'd watched a lot of, before this year, but it felt like the time to do it. And like, I'm the first one to say that, like, I'm totally humbled by how great it is, and like how much I'd been missing for that, for most of my life, having not seen movies. Like if Ma Rainey's Black Bottom had come out, like I wouldn't have seen it because it seemed like a bummer film. Now, in fairness to me, I also don't watch like Shoah or Schindler's List or any of the people, like any of my people's bummer films. Right. But, just trying to open up my eyes a little bit and see experiences and worldviews outside of my own. That's been like the most interesting part. I don't think of myself as like a dramatic. I don't like being sad while watching films. So I've really shied away most of my life for drama and heavy subjects. So this year it's like, now's the time to sit with it. Now's the time to like watch it. And yeah, it's been really eye-opening. I've had a lot of crying moments, a lot of like, dark nights of the soul, but I think it's been, all for the better.
Has there been a film that's kind of been your, how can I say this, your accompaniment? Has there been a film or a TV series that has been what you've turned to over the last year? You mentioned Friends for some people. You mentioned The Office for some people. Has there been a TV show? I mean, I see you with the Twin Peaks background, which looks fantastic, by the way. Like, it couldn't be more perfect. Is that a show that you turned to during this time? Is there what has been like your companion in terms of media?
Yeah, Twin Peaks, has always been one of these things for me. And it's just my brand. I'm not going to try to hide that, like for Schmoedown, future Schmoedown competitors, that like, David Lynch has always been my thing. And coming back to such a weird, strange world, especially because of the third season of Twin Peaks: The Return, was such like a divergent from what people wanted and what people wanted for their comfort food of Twin Peaks. I got introduced Nerd Chronic to it, which was great. I recently got into my first anime, Attack on Titan, which is like another subculture of like stuff I've never gotten into. Anime is incredible. Just trying to like find these things that are not my normal tempo, not quite my tempo.
Right.
What do I say is my comfort, or that I've gone to more this year? I would say I'm trying to cast an eye towards Nerd Chronic to see if he'll give me any help here. What's been my comfort?
Help her out, Eric.
I'm sure movie. Yeah. What do I cry a lot during? I'm thinking about ending things. Oh yeah, the Charlie Kaufman movie. I got really into. I really like that. I thought that was a great meditation on grief and loss and a bunch of other things. I don't know. Yeah, Promising Young Woman really spoke to me in a way that made me very angry after watching it. I had a lot of like anger and resentment and like feelings of like this could have been better, and I'm angry at. But the emotional reaction it brought for me. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then also Fast and Furious, a franchise I've discovered here, and I love more than anything. So I love it. That's spectrum.
Okay, I love it. It's a good mix. I liked Promising Young Woman a lot. And yeah, I understand people's issues with the ending, but I thought it was a gutsy ending to take a chance to end it in that manner. Did it overall affect the message of the movie? I don't know. I'm not one to say that. I think it was really aimed at a certain audience, and if I could be specific, a certain gender. And it is supposed to wake men up, but also maybe offer some release. I feel like for women seeing this go the way it did in the movie. But I thought Carey Mulligan was incredible. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
She's incredible. I thought Bo Burnham was like the revelation in that movie because like. I'm a huge Bo Burnham fan, but I also find like Bo Burnham's kind of difficult because if you listen to any of his like stuff that he did when he was like 15 and 16 and was already a famous comedian. It's all very like, and it's all very homophobic. It's all very like, it's just like gross. And it's almost like, I feel like he's trying to make his own kind of atonement for the kind of person he used to be, and for which he has no ability to erase the record of it, because it's all over Comedy Central. Like there's no way for him to erase, even though he's obviously transitioned into a very thoughtful, like very, if you've seen Eighth Grade, like, he's a very empathetic, thoughtful man, but like his history is like, he can't escape what he was at 16.
Right.
And I feel like the movie sort of, I conflate the two, but I feel like the movie was very much his reckoning with who he was when he was younger, and he can't do anything to change that. And it's a matter of public record.
That's a great point. Geez, I never even looked at it that way. That's a fantastic point you bring up, VideoDrew. The idea that it's it's the way his character plays out can be totally connected to his life in real life. And that's actually a very interesting point to bring up. I hadn't even considered. That certainly adds more layers. A lot of these comedians have had to confront or ignore or make fun of being called out for this kind of stuff. And, like Eddie Murphy straight up said, those jokes I made, the homophobic jokes, that was wrong. It was absolutely wrong. I shouldn't have made them. And I learned. And that's another part of this is, as we kind of explore cancel culture or consequences culture, whatever your term you want to use. I prefer consequences culture, but I know there are people who would like to use cancel culture. It's easier to say or quicker to say. But either way, it's an eye-opening experience to be like, okay, these people said these things, fine, but do we create some kind of space for them to change or to have changed? I look at the Teen Vogue writer or editor who just stepped down, and I'm like, these were, they were terrible tweets, but she's been very clear about apologizing for them. And if the people or the majority of people involved are okay with her apology, then why are we having her step down? Is this kind of nefarious that someone else wanted to take this spot? Like, it's that kind of thing that kind of gets muddled as we look at this situation.
I think what's difficult about the Teen Vogue thing specifically is that like Teen Vogue did such a thing during the Trump administration of going past their like girly roots and really holding people accountable.
True.
So it's really hard for them to have somebody in position of power when then the right can just, or the right, whoever you want to say, can then just go attack, going, well, what about these tweets? And I think it's less about she was forced to step down and more that she realized that was maybe the best thing for the publication. Like that was, she wasn't going to be able to hold this role without them constantly holding her feet to the fire and saying this. I really truly believe that like when we say give space for people to change, what I hate to see is like, someone being not called out, but like, like being saying, hey, this made me uncomfortable. You did this thing a couple years ago. And then some like a comedian or an actor, I won't name who, but like being like, well, like cancel culture. Oh, like, can you imagine this woke mafia is coming to get me? And it's like, or you can sit there, take a day or two and just think, okay, what did I say? Was it offensive? Is there any way I can make amends? Like, I think, again, Bo Burnham has spoken about this at length. He's spoken about why he stepped back from doing stand-up and doing, and worked in more directorial stuff, because like there is no way for him to erase what he said in the past, but he still has so much talent and he's so evolved and such a genius that I feel like there's a way for him to be both accountable. Yeah, and I think what you said was right. What, accountability culture?
Consequences culture. Yeah,
consequences culture. Yeah, I think like accountability culture is a great term for it too. Like
accountability. I like that, accountability culture. That's actually better. Okay.
It's because we're not trying to cancel anyone. We're just saying, hey, this was hurtful. I mean, things that I've said in the past, that I've had tweets in the past about, Asian American jokes or like, something like that. The things that like at the time, of course, within the context of 1999 or 2004 were not considered hurtful in the same way. But like looking back, of course, they always were, and they always were to some people. Now, does that mean I have to be canceled and go away forever? No, but like there needs to be a reckoning in which I understand that wasn't okay. Maybe I should take a step back. Maybe I'm not the person then to talk about how other people should be canceled for their comments, to understand that we all have accountability and culpability to play.
Yeah, I always feel like you have to clean your own house before you start slinging arrows at other houses and make sure that there's nothing in your past. Make sure there's nothing around in your world before you start slinging those arrows. And then once you sling the arrows, make sure you understand that you're slinging the arrows. Are you slinging the arrows to destroy someone, to make yourself feel better about your world because you're not happy with your life? Or are you really trying to call someone out because this is connected to your culture, connected to your upbringing, your ethnicity, or whatever, and you'd like this kind of stuff to stop? I mean, so many comedians had to confront their anti-Asian jokes. I mean, Tina Fey with the blackface, and she's been very accused in the anti-Asian community of making, I'm sorry, in the Asian community of making anti-Asian jokes or writing jokes at Asians' expense. Those are the things that this is what I think is very important. It's not one side or the other. And I think it has to be everybody getting called out on both sides. Too many times the liberals, or the quote unquote liberals, or the whatever you want to call the left side, is so anxious to call out the right, but doesn't realize that there's hypocrisy within their own world, within their own people. And that's where I think it gets dangerous. And that's what turns it into a social war rather than a movement to change the world in a positive direction.
I 100% agree. And I think also when you say slinging arrows, I think that's exactly like the problem is that's the mentality of what people are doing here. Instead of being like, hey, privately messaging someone and being like, hey, maybe this joke is off color, or just saying something like that, as opposed to putting somebody on blast, because it's just true that we are products of the times that we were living in. So like 5-10 years ago, making a joke, one kind of joke was acceptable, calling somebody a drag queen instead of a trans person was just the nomenclature that we used. That was just the acceptable nomenclature. Like, that was the way we understood in the framework and so like being called out about something when that was the common nomenclature. And I feel this way, especially about gender and sexuality stuff, because it is something that is evolving over time. And as long as you're willing to like learn and be like, okay, you're right. So I shouldn't say I need to use gender neutral pronouns now. And that's different than being somebody who is a, who prefers male pronouns, who used to be like, you have to make sure to educate yourself. But then I feel like what you do, you can move forward and be like, yeah, I said these things in the past, and be like, that those things were not, that we didn't have the words, we didn't have the language, and we didn't have like the tools to know that there was a better way to say this. Yeah,
agreed. And speaking of better way to say this, people are saying things here. I've got a couple of streams that have come through. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I didn't say a word at the beginning of the show. I apologize. I just wanted to get into the conversation with VideoDrew. I haven't seen her in forever. If you want to send in some support, we'd appreciate you sending in some support tonight, please. I'm sure, Drew and I have stories for days, so we can certainly set goals here. But we got about an hour and 15 minutes left in the show. We'd love to get your support. Any questions you want to ask, send them in on on the Streamlabs over there. Right above Drew's head is the Streamlabs address, or I have pinned it in the chat, and it's also in the description of this video. So if you want to send in some questions, thoughts, comments, anything you want to hear us talk about, please feel free to do that and support the Outlaw Nation show as well. We'd love that as well, to keep us doing the show over and over again every Tuesday night for you, having great guests like VideoDrew on. The first one I think we have here is from Chris Taylor. He sent a couple in, so let's read the first one. Chris says, VideoDrew, what are your thoughts on Twin Peaks Season 3? Talk to me about that.
Man. How much time I got? Let's see if we can raise like this much donations. You get to hear my thoughts on Twin Peaks Season 3 because
it was $2. So give $2 of an analysis on
$2 of an analysis. Yeah, I think it's actually Twin Peaks: The Return. Not to correct, but to educate. I loved it. I thought it was such a commentary. As much as Twin Peaks, the first 2 seasons were a commentary on like soap opera culture of the 90s, and was like a kind of arch play on that. I thought Twin Peaks: The Return was such a funny arch analysis and this sort of satire of peak TV, that like Breaking Bad and The Sopranos and a bunch of other shows like that. So much so that they would do these things of like 5-minute long like segments of just watching a guy sweep a floor. Like it was just meditative and strange, and it wasn't what you wanted when you watch Twin Peaks. But David Lynch never likes to give you what you want. He likes to give you stuff that pushes you outside your comfort zone. And for that, I think it's one of the most brilliant pieces of art. I don't know if you want to call it a movie or a TV show, but I think it's one of the most brilliant pieces of art that we've had, probably in this decade at least.
I might have to do a special show with VideoDrew because I am not a David Lynch person. I don't like his movies. I don't get connected to them. And maybe VideoDrew can explain them to me and get me to see what's going on, the subtext, or connect to what he's actually trying to create. I mean, I'm sad. I'm one of those idiots that likes the Grateful Dead, but only Touch of Grey, because I only like Straight Story from David Lynch, and maybe that's the only. And Wild at Heart. I do love Wild at Heart. I'm not going to deny that.
Great. Look, here's what I say about David Lynch. He's a whole mood. I don't mind if people don't get him or don't like him because it's not for everyone. He's more of anything. He's purpose. A vibe. It's not like you're stupid for not liking him. It's like when people say, "Oh, that's a whole mood," or "That's a whole look," or "That's a whole vibe." That's David Lynch. He's an aesthetic more than he is like an auteur who has certain beliefs or something like that. He's just a vibe. He makes you want. He creates an ambiance, and if you're not digging that ambiance, then that's totally okay.
That's how I try to defend the Michael Bay Transformers films, but nobody seems to listen to me. All right, the next one also from Chris Taylor. It says, VideoDrew, would it be a dream of yours to be interviewed by Space Ghost? Ooh.
Oh my God, yes. I say this a lot. John Rocha, you've now come on my show, Live in the Dark. It's always been my goal to do, when I think of comedy, like my ideal form of comedy is the Space Ghost Bjork episode of Space Ghost Coast to Coast, where he's interviewing Tom York from Radiohead, and Bjork keeps popping in as his wife that we didn't know Space Ghost had, and she's just talking in Icelandic and being really weird. And Space Ghost was this formative thing, like Adult Swim, really weird off-kilter humor was really what I dug growing up. And then and then like when I look at Zach Galifianakis's Between Two Ferns, I feel
my God,
of those two things is like where my sweet spot is.
Yeah, there was a time right before. Now we get all kinds of shows like Rick and Morty and what have you. But there was a time where there was that little pocket of time where you had these kind of shows that only certain people knew about. When you found out about them and watched them, you loved them. Definitely the Coast to Coast, the Space Coast to Coast was great.
C-Lab,
C-Lab,
yeah.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force a little bit.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force,
that was brilliant. Meatwad.
Yeah, Tim and Eric, I feel like are some of my favorites.
Oh yeah, Tim and Eric. Yes.
And if John, if you've never checked out On Cinema, it is a brilliant. It's a long burn. It's a slow burn, but it is Greg Turkington, and I feel like you would love this. Greg Turkington and Tim Heidecker, and they are doing movie reviews every week, and it's like 5 to 7 minute long, but it's throughout like 11 seasons, and they're just passive aggressive, and they hate each other, and neither one really knows that much about movies, and Tim's always like off trying to do with something else, and like Greg is like this nerd. I feel like if you watched it, you would totally understand immediately the kind of archetypes of film people that they're trying to be, and it just keeps building. Every episode they're reviewing 2 new movies and trying to give it review it, but like one of them never like really watches the movie, and the second one like is only giving you like how long the runtime is, and there's such archetypes of, I feel like specifically you watch it and be like, oh, I know what Schmoedown person that is. I know what Schmoedown person that is, and it evolves into such craziness. So I feel like you check out On Cinema. It's all on YouTube. It's brilliant.
Done. 5 to 7. Yeah. That's where it's at. Yeah, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. That was another great one.
Love that one.
Oh my God, the one with Apache Chief. That's maybe the funniest episode I've ever seen in my life. And Home Movies, where John Benjamin got his start.
John Benjamin. Right? Oh my God, I was obsessed with him when he was the son on Dr. Katz.
Dr. Katz. I think Dr. Katz is what initiated that. I think the critic maybe was like kind of scratching, and then Dr. Katz kind of opened the door, and then all this stuff came out a little bit afterwards.
Oh my God.
Dr. Katz is brilliant. Oh my
God.
God.
If you don't know what Dr. Katz is, it was a series where comedians would come on and get it would be like a psychoanalysis session with some of your favorite comedians way back in the day. So like Ray Romano, Dave Chappelle, Mitch Hedberg, but it was them through the lens of this cartoon psychotherapy session that they were doing. But they would just be doing their bits, and it would be animated. It has maybe some of my favorite bits ever, like some of my favorite bits of all time. The Jim Gaffigan stuff was amazing.
Oh my God. The Dom Herrera stuff, when he's like, if I was a Viking, if I was dressed as a Viking, could you put on a red dress, could I ride you up the stairs? Like there was just all kinds of stuff that was brilliant. Ray Romano.
Ray Romano talking about his dad with the steak, being like, don't fill up on the bread. That's how they get you. And he's like, how they get you what, Dad? You think that they're going and selling your one like bite steak in the backyard somewhere? Like, that's how they get you. So good.
The keys. Look at the keys.
Look at the keys. Look at the keys. Great.
Those were the best. Those were absolutely the best. Brian Brawler, Donnell. Thank you, Brian. He says, I don't know where you said it, John, but you basically said celebrity culture needs to die. I totally agree. It's so pointless and distracting. What are your thoughts on celebrity culture, Drew? Well, just to clarify, what I said was that I think the overwhelming need to worship at the altar of celebrity culture, that needs to die. All of that, we need to break this idea that because you're famous for saying lines on a camera, you somehow are of higher value and your opinion on things are of higher value than anyone else's. All of that needs to go away. I mean, if you watch that Allen versus Pharaoh documentary and you walk out, that's what broke it for me once and for all. Watching that doc, I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. If this is someone who's did this kind of thing, and judging from some of the stuff I saw, I feel very clear on my opinion on this. We don't need to, worship the films. Or there are plenty of other writers. There are plenty of other directors who you can go and enjoy, who are just as incredible at what they do. We don't have to review. We don't have to be so precious about anything or anybody involved with celebrity or status or achievement. I think that's my point. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I think that's really interesting. I mean, the problem is that like the Allen and Pharaoh stuff, we've known about that since the 70s, 80s. Like that's all been public knowledge. And the thing is, unfortunately, like as someone who grew up in Woody Allen movies and stuff, like you can't. And it's not his to take away from me. The effect his movies have on me, like it's not his love to take away from me. Like how Annie Hall or Purple Rose took away from me. Now, will I watch those movies again or recommend them again? No, but like the way that they affected me and what they did for me as like a young Jewish girl in like New York and stuff, like it cannot be overstated. But when we talk about like celebrity culture, I think specifically, I mean, I see it as a broader thing. It's also like, the social influencer culture, this idea that you are the amount of people who follow you. Your worth is tied completely to how many followers you have, your intrinsic work. And I say this as somebody who, we used to be married to somebody who is now very, very famous. And after they were married to me, dated one of the top actresses in Hollywood. And so now my Google search results, when you Google my name, this is why I go by VideoDrew. It's like you Google my name, all it is not like 12 years of journalism experience. It's all just like, who was this guy married to before he dated the most famous actress in Hollywood? Like it ruined my SEO, it ruined a lot of my work chances, and it sucked. But I had to like kind of come to terms with my value is not intrinsically tied to who I used to be married to's new girlfriend who is famous.
Right. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine that level of attention and what have you going on, but all of it just needs to stop. Doesn't mean that celebrities can't use their platform in a positive way. What do you think about what Scarlett Johansson said recently, where she said, I don't need to do these things that people are saying. Like I didn't sign up to be a politician. I'm an actor. And so do I have to use my platform in this way? And it's ironic because she's obviously married now to Colin Jost, who uses his platform on SNL to definitely go after political points of views and what have you, and his political points of view. So what did you think about what she said?
Well, I didn't hear exactly her comments, but that's crazy considering she's the one who like took up that thing with the soda stream company and like made a very strong stance against that Israel-Palestine thing. Like they decided to like really lean into that. Like she can say she's not a politician, but she picks issues that are incredibly hot button issues and then uses her platform to be like, a lot of times, you get these jokes about like it's a bad day to be Scarlett Johansson's publicist. Like, stay out of these conversations. Don't want to be a politician, then don't use your platform to have political hot takes.
Yeah. She said, I don't think actors have obligations to have a public role in society, and this is what she told this magazine, the UK magazine, The Gentlewoman. She said, I don't think actors have obligations to have a public role in society. Some people want to, but the idea that you're obligated to because you're in the public eye is unfair. You didn't choose to be a politician. You're an actor. No. Your job is to reflect our experience to ourselves. Your job is to be a mirror for an audience, to be able to have an empathetic experience through art. That is what your job is. What do you think about that?
Sure. And that is what your job is. Your job is also not to get, I really don't understand where she's coming from, because her job is also not to take brand sponsorships with companies that have like blood on their hands and then defend those companies. Like, I don't understand, like people aren't coming up to her and asking her just willy nilly about how she feels about Israel versus Palestine. It's because she picks brands and then and becomes the spokesperson for them. No, her job isn't to have political, to have political hot takes.
Right.
So maybe that she would not have political hot takes by not associating herself. Her job as an actress is not to have brand sponsorships either.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Doug Developer here says, do you feel we sometimes give artists a pass for making offensive jokes if they're also outspoken on social justice? America Ferrara and Seth MacFarlane produced TV shows with numerous race jokes, but knowing their political activism, I let them slide. Yeah, what do you think about that, Drew?
Seth MacFarlane's political activism? Wait, I'm sorry, maybe I missed it. Well, what's Seth MacFarlane's political activism?
I don't know what Seth MacFarlane. I have to be honest. Doug, can you clarify? Because this dude, I don't, other than trying to record standards, I don't see what else he does outside of his stuff. So I don't know what his political comments are, to be honest with you.
Look, I think that there's this kind of thing where it's like, yeah, I think a lot of Family Guy is funny. Yes, I do sometimes feel like, oh my God, is it going to be like, we can't make fun of anything anymore? Like, it's going to be that kind of thing. But I think what the issue is for a lot of these people, especially stand-ups, and especially people who run writers' rooms, is you can make jokes and you can be edgy and have edgy comedy as long as you have people in your room that are vetting these jokes with you. Like you have a writer's room that is diverse, and not just because there's a quota that you need to hit, but like you have people in the writer's room saying this joke is funny, this joke is something that like it would be acceptable, and this joke isn't. If it's just you and your echo chamber of white bro dudes, and then you get very defensive about it, like the way that I love Bill Burr. I think Bill Burr's sorry, I don't know if I can curse here. I think he's fucking hilarious. But the way he gets so triggered, like he gets so snowflake triggered about like when anybody's like, hey, that wasn't cool how you mispronounced the names of the Latin grannies and then said it was going to be the feminists who come after you because you mispronounced a Latin woman's name. Right. Why? I don't even get the one-to-one there. Why would feminists come after you because of you mispronounced a Latino woman's name? Like, that's you being too wrapped up in this idea of cancel culture and being too like looking in the bushes for Charlie, except Charlie is like a woke feminist with an LGBTQ armband. Like, I don't know what he's so scared of. He's the one in power.
Yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely. All right. I do think that happens, Doug, sometimes for sure. It all depends on the situation. I mean, the recording the Imagine song, you can make fun of it. You understand the intention there, but the black and white video, that's the one that really kind of put me over the edge as a guy who's like, that was just ridiculous. Oh, now I'm not going to allow this stuff to happen on my sets anymore. You knew it was wrong. You knew it was wrong when it was happening, but you were too busy calling out the other side rather than doing the hard work of looking at yourself and looking at the sets that you're on or being afraid to be labeled a certain thing because you didn't want to lose your status. That's where those black and white videos have no weight to them at all. But go ahead.
It's hard though. It's like, we're all culpable to a certain extent. We were all part of this media thing. Like, I was really good friends with the showrunner from House of Cards, and like I was allowed on set, and like I would stay with the people, like I would stay with all the cast members in the hotel. Like, I had rarefied status because I was really good friends with the showrunner. Now, did the showrunner know about the Kevin Spacey stuff? Did he have a responsibility to like kick Kevin Spacey off his show? Like, it just goes into this realm of, and did I have a responsibility to report on? I never saw anything untowards on set, but of course I knew Kevin Spacey's reputation. I got the first American interview, like the first interview he did back on American soil, and I chose not to ask him about any of those things that kept him out of, like, because I wanted to keep it a piece that would like allow me to be the first person who got that interview. Now, how culpable am I for being part of that system? Like, at a certain point, like as a woman, as somebody who is involved in, entertainment and media, like you have to play by certain rules. And like right now it is becoming safe to come forward and being like, I won't allow this on my set anymore. I won't like allow, or I'm going to be responsible for making sure that these interviews, whether that makes it so I can't have access to a lot of celebrities, I'm going to make every celebrity hold their feet to their fire and be held accountable for things they did in the past. Like, it's hard, and we all are culpable, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's true. It is very hard. You're right. We are all in some way culpable. I mean, I wanted to speak out about something last year when a certain company was putting up a black square and claiming to care about the rights of a certain section of the minority population in our country. Meanwhile, their entire writing staff was white. Their entire full-time editorial staff was white. And I really wanted to call them out and speak out about it. But in the end, I didn't, because I didn't see the logic in it. I didn't see the point in it. I didn't want to have a public battle over it, but the temptation was there, and I had to explore for myself what were my intentions if I was going to do that in a public forum like that. And in the end, I didn't. So in a way, I do feel kind of culpable because that situation still hasn't changed. And so it's like, okay, well, where's the line that I've drawn in the sand to call other people out or other companies out if I wasn't willing to do it myself? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And look, this has been a big year for me, like learning how to, like, I have this instinct, this good instinct that I, usually thought about myself as like a very good instinct. John, you've been on the receiving end of it before, where if I feel like there's been injustice or bullying, I have this, I see red and I suddenly want to fix it and speak on behalf of other people and be like, this is not fair. You shouldn't be like that. Don't bully, blah, blah. And I really had to learn this year that A, people can talk for themselves, and B, like, it's not always my place to like take on other people's fights. It's sort of demeaning to them because it assumes that they can't speak for themselves or have their own issues. It's not my place to say, how dare you be like this or be a bully. I need to check what that is inside of me. And I think a lot of that inside of me is me feeling like I didn't do enough. I never did enough. So now I'm going to go take on these righteous crusades as my own. And that's a really dangerous, because that's a self-righteous thing. So that's that's a crusade. That's how you become one of these, social justice warriors that get the bad rep,
Yeah, because you're just spewing it all over the place rather than actually having an intention to change overall the society.
Or asking the people who you're trying to, you're saying that you're standing for, like, what would make you comfortable? What is this actually making you uncomfortable that I'm claiming to speak for you? Right.
Good point. Justin Toner donated. He said, "Hi, John and VideoDrew. Thanks for coming back to be on the Outlaw Nation. Drew, I wanted to ask you, what are some of your favorite film directors?" Yeah, Video. What are some of your favorite film directors?
Oh my God. Like, I'm gonna be so basic about this. I love David Lynch. I love Charlie Kaufman. I love let's see. I love Adam Wingard, who I know is doing the new Godzilla, Kong versus Godzilla, Godzilla versus Kong. I've loved him ever since You're Next. I love a lot of these indie horror movie guys. So I'm really happy to see him doing that. I love, I love Rian Johnson. He's like a buddy of mine. I was supposed to be in the Last Jedi, so that was supposed to be something I was going to be in. So he's a good guy. I'm trying to think of like directors. I always usually almost try to think more like in terms of screenwriters, but directors I get very psyched about. This Esmeralda, how do you pronounce her last name? Esmeralda,
Emerald Fennel.
Emerald Fennel. Love her. Think she's great. Man, put me on the spot. I really like Cronenberg, Fincher. I like some of these, directors you wouldn't normally think of as the VideoDrew stuff. I was a big, and I'll say this, like, just being completely honest, I was a big, Lena Dunham fan back in the day.
Okay.
We went to the same college together. My experience with hers was very similar. So it was that kind of thing where it's like, oh yeah, that story that in that episode of Girls was about something that happened with me and her. Like, it felt very, and so Sarah Violet Bliss, who does that show Search Party on TBS, which is an amazing show, also went to college with her. And I feel like she's really hit this sardonic, perfect edge. David Wayne, Jordan Peele. I have a bunch of directors who I love. I feel like some of these people they're bringing on to do some of these new superhero movies are going to be awesome. So yeah.
To change, it has to, or to keep the genre going, it has to change to bring in new voices in. So bring in these, like you said, these independent film directors or people or directors of color, women, female directors. It's all important, to create a new point of view, a new perspective, a new look that allows the genre to expand and be more broad in its approach to the subjects that it's covering, and more conscientious as well, which is important.
Yeah, Taika Waititi, I mean, just incredible dude who a couple years ago we would have been like, who? But like, he's incredible. I will watch anything. He does. A lot of the TV, I'll see a lot of directors doing episodes of TV that I really have enjoyed. Hero, I forget his last name, who's done Atlanta and did a couple episodes of Barry.
Donald Glover. Yeah, Donald Glover did Atlanta. Yeah. Oh, you mean the director? Yes.
The director of it, Hero.
He's fantastic.
He also did, he did a couple episodes of Barry. I've been really impressed by, I finally watched all the John Wick movies and watching The Raid, and that Swedish dude impresses me a lot. Like, that was an incredible looking film. the guy who I'm gonna mess up everyone's name who's not American, so I apologize in advance. The Old Boy director, I've always been impressed by. Bong
Joon-ho.
Like,
Bong Joon-ho. Yeah.
I mean, ever since The Host, like I was like, oh, this guy's got his pulse on something very weird and strange that I love. Like Old Boy. Sorry, not Old Boy. Snowpiercer. Aksha, even I thought he brought out an incredible performance from Gyllenhaal and Aksha.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
that's a great point. And the Atlanta director is Hiro Murai. Murai is the guy's name, and he's fantastic.
Incredible.
So many great episodes he's directed, and so many. I think he's got something because him and Donald worked together on a number of projects. So like he directed his music videos. So there's all kinds of stuff, and he's got something called Station 11 coming out that's in post-production right now. So
Station 11 is it was a great book. It's like a post-zombie apocalypse story, but it's like done from a very cool world. Like the world of it is very cool and very literary. And this young the author, when the book came out a while ago, it was a young female author, and it's done from a really great way. Also, I gotta give a shout out to my boy Cord Jefferson, somebody I came up with in the blogging sphere. He did most of the Watchmen. He was sort of him and Lindelof did the Watchmen TV show together, and he's done like The Good Place and a lot of other things. But like Cord Jefferson's been killing it. I can't wait to see like what he comes up with next.
I gotta watch The Good Place. I have never watched The Good Place. I gotta get on that. I know a lot of people.
You saw Watchmen though, right? The Watchmen.
I did see Watchmen. Watchmen's incredible, and I almost want to go back and revisit it and do reviews of those episodes one by one because they're so just brilliant.
Talk about prolific. I mean, they're prescient. I mean, they saw what was going to be happening in this country and just it's
kind of crazy. All right, let's see here. Tushka donated, says your value will always be like art. It is what the viewer/buyer sees as the value, except in life. You are the viewer and must buy into yourself. Of course, publicity industry is measured by social media clout. Much love to both of you, rising talents. Oh, it's
that's almost like a cone. I love that. It's almost like a cone, like something you would. I want to like take that as my mantra.
Yeah, Tushka's smart like that. All right, those are all the Streamlabs for now, ladies and gentlemen. Please keep sending them in. Let's get some good numbers up here. Let's get some big, strong support for the Outlaw Nation and definitely some support for Drew coming on the show here. Sean, have you put we're going to have Sean come in just a second. He's going to let people know how they can come in and ask questions of us live. Sean, have you put the link in the Discord? Sean is a little bit under the weather. Have you put the link in the Discord for the Outlaw Nation patrons? You're going to? Okay, great. In about 5 minutes, I'll bring you in for everybody else. But yeah, if you're an Outlaw Nation patron at the $10 and above level, you get to come in first, ask your questions of me and VideoDrew in a little bit. And that you do get to do that on every Outlaw Nation show that there is here on the channel, especially on the Outlaw Nation show itself on Tuesday nights. So there we go.
I feel so bad. I feel like this has not been the VideoDrew experience that most people are used to. I'm like talking about politics and stuff. But I did want to say congratulations on your win. John,
thank you.
That was awesome to watch. What a great match that was. They've all been so good recently.
Yes.
We've all had to step our game up. Like all of us, I say old timers, I mean people who have been on the show for more than like a season. But like we've all had to like step our game up.
Yeah. Have you are we allowed to talk about your match? Are we allowed to say anything yet? Or is it
my match came out like last week.
Okay. All right. So how did you feel about this experience? Speaking of Schmoedown, how did you feel coming back to the game? It had been a bit. So what's the world been like for you on your new faction? Do you feel really comfortable being on this faction now? And did they help you get ready for this match of yours last week?
Well, I will say that, I came off of last year like on this crazy high note because I ran a perfect game against Jen Kemp, and it was like insane. I don't think there's only been one other woman, it was Rachel Cushing, to ever play a perfect game in a singles thing. I went to multiple choice once, but still like a perfect game. And that was crazy. I mean, coming off of the scores I usually do, like that's the abnormal, that's sort of the what do you call it? Aberration of it. Yeah. But like coming back to this, playing Dewberry, I felt like me and him were always going to be really equally matched. I've been studying my butt off. Like, I went into this first season of this game not really knowing what it was. Yeah. And just kind of doing it for the entertainment value, wanting to get more matches, wanting to win so I could get more matches to get more screen time. Mm-hmm. And then the past, year or so, I've been dedicating so much time to it. And, I still am like at a complete disadvantage just because I don't come from the movie background. A lot of people do. But like I always thought that, I'm still in the dungeon. I was on the dungeon last year. Last year, we were kind of like Animal House. Like, it didn't really matter about us winning, I felt like, so much as we were all there for each other and we were like a family. I didn't know how having Dan and Ben was going to disrupt that dynamic. And quite honestly, I was like, maybe I should start looking at other places. I'm not sure if that's like the kind of vibe that I want to be dealing with. It's an intensity there.
Yeah.
But I got to say, it's been amazing. Like using them as resources, actually having them to sort of crack the whip and be like, before I was trying to put together study sessions, but it's kind of like herding cats, like having them available as resources and also just, finally having some people who have some authority and can give me some guidance in terms of strategy has been really great. So it's actually been really awesome.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Have you got good responses? Do you feel comfortable how you play? Do you feel like, are you are you still in the afterglow of your victory? How do you feel about now?
I mean, I really wish I'd done a better job. I did get a victory, but it was tighter than I would have liked. And I feel like I was going through a lot of physical issues that day without getting too graphic about it. I was going through a lot of stomach issues that day. So if you actually watch the match, you can watch me rifling around in the first round. And it looks like I hoped it didn't look like I was doing anything untoward, but I was just trying to find my anti-nausea medication. And I don't want to be one of those people being like, blame it on how I felt, but I feel like I could have gotten one or two more of those questions had I been fully tapped in. So I'm hoping my next match will be more on the line of what I was able to do last season with Kemp. And I have a couple people in mind for who I'd love to play next. I think there's some of these rookies coming in that one of them's on your faction. And I would love to play Rick Radis, man.
Oh,
I feel like
Rager?
he would be.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a matchup of the century.
I think so too. Be careful what you wish for, but I absolutely think that would be a great matchup too. We have a lot of faith in Rager. I think he did a really good job. He had to get a first game under his belt and learn some things from that game. I saw so many comments in our Twitter thread because we're all on a Twitter thread. It's just an incredibly supportive community this year in the Finstock Exchange. It's ironic you talk about your faction being now like such a good faction to study and stuff like that. Ben and Dan did none of that last year with our faction, so really surprising to see that. I guess they're a little motivated to prove other people wrong.
I gotta say,
because with us, it's better without Dan and Ben, and it's so ironic the way it's worked out. Yeah,
I was the only woman on the dungeon last year, and so like that has a certain thing. But like now, like with Mara there, with Molly there, I feel like it's sort of a good balance of energy where it's sort of like we're all in this together, but also like you kind of have to do teamwork. Like it's not just going to be about like these star players. Like Mara is a huge star in her own right, but like when we study, we share tips. We are very open with each other about our strategies. We all root each other on. We have these, like we watch each other's matches in, Zoom, like little Zoom rooms. And like, we're all there for each other.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens if if one of you comes close to threatening Ben or Dan for supremacy in the Schmoedown. If that openness, that open bookness will continue, we shall see. We shall see. Certainly, that's something you worry about when you play at this level. Nerd Chronic was in here with a Streamlabs. Thank you, Nerd. One of my favorite people on the planet. I'm the one person that doesn't ask Nerd to edit any of my stuff, even though I'd love to ask him because he's overwhelmed. I love him to pieces, though. But always know I respect your work and honor your work. And I wish I'd jumped on top of the Nerd Chronic train. I just felt like too many people were already on it. I didn't want to overwhelm you. But he says, hey, John and Drew, first-time caller. What have been some of your favorite recent trailers? I still remember Rocha rocking out to the Creed 2 trailer. Oh, yeah, hell yeah. Drew, do you have any recent trailers that have like been awesome for you to watch?
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I feel like this was like a loaded question because I'm.
Wait a minute. Stop right now. Who the hell is that? Oh my God.
This is Tulpa. This is one of, we got two puppies. So me and Nerd Chronic are nerd parents, I guess.
Wow.
We have Tulpa and we have Sammy. They're both rescues and we love them so much.
Oh my God.
I know. So my season debut of Drella DeVille is going to have to come up later this season. But she's my sweetheart. Yeah. So
wow,
it's
beautiful.
She is beautiful. Yeah. She kind of changes your priorities a little bit. Where's Sammy? Is she?
Sure.
Sammy. I really love that Promising Young Woman trailer. I love any trailer that can like use the music. I'm one of these people who really does love the music drops. Hey, come here, girl. Come here. Come here. So Godzilla versus Kong was also a great trailer.
Yeah.
I feel like any trailer that it can also confuse me about what kind of thing we're going to be watching. I think Antlers is coming out soon, and I think that was a great trailer. But this is Tammy. She looks like a little.
Oh, look at that.
Here she is. Here she is.
Oh,
okay.
My God.
This is kind of the warm side of VideoDrew that no one got to see before.
So beautiful. Yeah, we're not allowed to have pets in our house here in San Diego, but at some point down the road, I know we're clamoring to get a couple of dogs. God, she's so beautiful. Look at her.
I'm trying to think what else has really done it for me lately. Has there?
How about the Mortal Kombat?
Has an answer. Nerdconic, what am I thinking of?
The Mortal Kombat trailer was great. It's his question. It's his question.
I know, but like he asked it because he has something that I'm sure he knows. I don't know. He was saying no.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat was great. That trailer did something for me where I was just like, yes. Like I was getting psyched for something I probably would not have gotten psyched about. Oh, the Cruella trailer.
Oh, that was
perfect trailer for me.
Yeah. I agree with you 1,000%. I thought that trailer was badass 1,000%. That new Suicide Squad trailer, that was awesome too.
Nom
that
Nom,
3-minute trailer, right?
Yeah. Nom Nom. Any trailer where you get like a shark going nom nom and then eating a guy in two is perfect. A+.
Yeah. I already did the review last week, but I thought the Nobody trailer was fantastic, and the movie turned out to be damn good as well. So yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited to see Nobody. Like I love Odenkirk and I love him so much. So
he's great.
Can't wait for that final season. Is it the final season of Better Call Saul? Like
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Ryan R says, "So happy you stuck with Dungeon VideoDrew. Congrats on your match," says Ryan. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, it was no easy feat. Like I knew going in, it was going to be me and Dewberry. Basically, I felt like we're at the same level, so I felt like it was going to be blow for blow, and it came down to just who like squeaked by with 1 point ahead going into round 3. But that's kind of what cost me the Riley match was being able to not pull my 2 or 3. So I was really happy that this time I was able to, and. Now I have my sights set on the next match and just focusing up on shoring some of these categories. Yeah. Because it's never going to be because I'm never going to get that far because of just my sheer knowledge of films. What I have to do is really strategize what slices I can do and what slices will be probably brought into these other larger slices and be asked about and sort of strategically figure that stuff out. So for me, it's like 70% strategy, 30% just shoving movies and information down my eyeballs.
That's great. Let's see what we also got here. Weston Iro says, "Am I weird for thinking this duo could both replace Alexa and Siri? I need to see the Goat Law feud with VideoDrew." We're a ways from that ever happening for sure, but certainly down the road would be a lot of fun. Why not?
I mean. The GOAT feud with VideoDrew. I mean, I don't know. Me and Mara have become so tight. Like so tight since. And I always really liked Mara, but like just found a real kindred spirit with the Queen of the Dungeon. Yeah, so
she's great. I don't know. I'm sure it would take a while for us to feud because VideoDrew would have to win a few more matches. I'd have to be in a position to challenge for stuff down the road, but. Sure, I would love to have a match with VideoDrew down the road.
The scariest thing was during my post interview when Jen Kemp went, Drew 2 more wins and like what you could get number 1 contender match, and I went, oh no, and that's not a joke. I was like, oh no, but then also I was like, what's a number 1 contender match again? Like, what does that mean? Like, oh no, like why? No, that's scary.
You never know. Oh, Wendy's in here. Hey, Rocha and VideoDrew, what's up, Wendy Lee?
Wendy.
Always great to see Wendy Lee in here. How are you? How are things, Wendy? I can't say anything, but there's something coming soon. I can't divulge anything, but there's something coming soon. So it's great to see Wendy in here. How are you?
Her so much. I miss her so much.
I miss her too. It sucks. I miss her like crazy.
Wendy, you still on Depop? You still on Poshmark and Depop? Because I've been selling like Twin Peaks merch all through there. She was like the person that encouraged me to get in on that. Like, yeah, she was awesome.
I need to get in on that stuff. I have so much stuff sitting here. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep sending in your Streamlabs and Super Chats as we go along. We've got one gentleman waiting. Oh, she says, I'm popping in to say hello before we get back to rolling dice. LOL. Miss you guys. Oh, that's right. Tonight is her D&D night. So she relaxes. But yeah, at some point down the road, we're going to have Wendy back on here as well. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's bring in someone to ask a question of us. Video Drew here, one of my patrons, Smith Alan Smithy, director Alan Smithy. Oh my!
Happy belated, Alan. Happy belated.
Thank you so much, Video Drew. How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Just chilling in the Black Lodge over here with my little puppies. So I'm doing good. Always love to be on here with Rocha.
Can I call you Video like John did earlier?
I do. I have to say, I love it.
I'm just kidding.
No, I actually love being called Video because I know I always joke Video Drew is one word, but when he calls it Video, like Video is the first name, I actually think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
so
all right. Well, I'll stick with Video Drew for tonight, but you know, maybe next time, you know, a little brevity with that. What's up, John? I'd like to point out as well that
yes, sir.
Video Drew's outfit, couch, and digital background all match.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You don't even have a couch. So what's going on?
No, I don't have a green screen is what I don't have.
Right.
But so well, I do actually. I've never used it. I bought it like 4 months ago and I've never put it up. And I suppose I should because I could get a nice background like that, which would look badass.
Green screen
posters. Like an old West town with like the sun going down in the background, and you can just sit in front of that all day. That would be nice.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point.
Well,
if that's not a green screen, go ahead and walk around in it, Drew. If that's not a green screen, get the hell out of here. Don't even.
Oh, she's going to do a demo.
Is it a real
back there?
Wait, is that real?
No.
Oh,
is she
okay.
really in the red cabin? Wow, it is real.
My eyes. You're messing with my eyes.
She is in Twin Peaks. This is nice. Anyway,
dig it. All right, what's your question, brother man?
This is a very important question, and I heard I'm the only one waiting. By the way, so I should get 2 to 3.
Sure.
I should get the full Reiko treatment, so I'll be here for like the half hour.
That's for the politics show. No, go ahead.
Drew, Team Kong or Team Godzilla?
Ooh.
Wow. So I'm not going to spoil anything about this upcoming movie. I will say that I was Godzilla all the way because, like, obviously Godzilla, like, obviously he's the King of Titans. Walking out, like, my heart is Kong, and like I might actually have to buy a Kong shirt, like Kong.
John, did that come with both options?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
I'll like I said, it was very nice of Warner Brothers. They sent me a nice little gift pack, and I'm going to put it up tomorrow on my Instagram. But yeah, one way or the other, Team Godzilla or Team Kong. I've always been Team Kong. I love Godzilla. Don't get me wrong. Grew up on those movies, but Kong is my jam.
I mean, like,
just like felt like Kong right there. That was a helicopter flying around the space, and he was like,
gotta say, man, like, because I saw a thing where it's like, what is a king to a god? And I was like, yeah, that's like kind of how I feel about it. But like, there's the things that kings have that gods don't, and like, you know, King Kong kind of for the win right now.
I think
kings are leaders. Kings lead other people, whereas Godzilla sounded like a solo act. You know,
Godzilla's a force of nature, and King Kong is a creature that can understand humans and has humans, you know, in its mind.
They're titans, for God's sakes.
Now, I like how they give Rocha got the Kong and the Godzilla shirt. See, it's about representing both sides, covering the bases. So if you can see here, there's this, right?
Son of a, take that off.
And then there's this.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, nice.
So you've got the Dungeon hat and the Finstock Exchange shirt. All right, I respect it.
Guys, buy whatever merch you want. You can buy whatever merch you want because isn't the thing is that we'll get the percentage of it at the end because we're gonna win no matter what. So like buy whatever merch you want. Like,
if you mean Finstock Exchange, yes, you're absolutely right.
This could be going to corruption right here, both of these.
No, I don't think so.
Shannon Barney getting the money.
Not unless
my recent crushing of Dewberry any indication. I don't
there
think
you
so.
go. There you go.
It was pretty much a good crushing. That was an excellent match. I love that. And I love you two, Rocha and VideoDrew. You were two of the best characters in the Schmoedown. As you've noticed, I'm into character work.
Yes.
I even got a prop.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, I won't waste your time with that.
Also, Brother Lomas. Gotta give another Finstock person shout out.
Yeah.
Brother Lomas is somebody I'd love to play. My God, would I love to play Lomas.
Sure.
Brother Lomas is fantastic. What a great character he's developed. And honestly, if he trusted his gut on that 5-pointer, we'd be looking at being undefeated at this point as a faction, because he knew it was Orson Welles, but he doubted himself. And
he did. And I watched that and I was like, that's such a tricky 5-pointer because the answer's Orson. Like the answer's like very like much staring you in the face. But that's the thing about not having played that much Schmoedown is like, or like knowing that much about Schmoedown is like you don't really know how to like. And it took me like a season or two to realize like the difference between a 2 and a 3 and a 5.
Yeah,
what that meant. You
figure it out. You just never know, because sometimes the 5 can feel like a 2. And the 2 can feel like a 5. Like ask Ben Bateman about Lucas Black. That's a 5er to him. You just never know. You just never know. So,
you just didn't have to go there. Now we're going to have to hear about this.
Not have to?
I mean, I'll give you more reasonable. Dewberry's 2 was what actor has been in Goodfellas, Jurassic Park, and what was the third one? And I was like, who the? And I was trying to think.
Samuel L. Jackson.
But I don't remember him in Goodfellas. And then his 3-pointer was like his 3-pointer was like incredibly easy. And I
got a little of this in Goodfellas,
Oh,
yeah,
right. He did from behind. It was from behind.
He was only in the movie briefly.
Yeah. So, and his 3-pointer was, and again, his 3-pointer was who's the bad guy in Blade Runner 2049. And I'm like, in my mind, those, but again, it's all subjective. But in my mind, those are swapped questions, and easiness points.
You could argue, I mean, you could say Jared Leto is the bad guy, but you could also say Sylvia Hawkes is really the one implementing and being the villain.
Well, the way the question was phrased was who owns the company and is trying to do the
okay.
They named him his name's Wallace something, right? So they actually gave his name in there. But.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I'm not here to question the question writers. That's or watch The Watchmen or do anything like that.
There you go. The Watchmen. All right, thanks so much, Smithy. I've got another person waiting. So do you have another question?
VideoDrew, and hi, Nerd Chronic. We see you hiding over there, and it's good to see you, kind of. But anyway,
he's here in spirit.
Thanks, brother. Good to see you.
All right.
Let me bring on Brennan here. Brennan's waiting to come in. Brennan, what's up? Whoop.
Hey.
What up, Brennan?
Hi, Drew.
Hey.
The congratulations on both of you on your recent wins.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
So we've come to the end of the decade. Okay. What have been some of your favorite films of the last decade?
Wow. That is a tough question.
I want John to go first on this one. I'm having to go first on all these last ones. I'm going to take like a minute and scroll through my letterbox, which is full of lies. Don't listen to my letterbox. Let's see. What are my favorite films of the last?
This idea of announcing what you're watching is very strange to me. I'll never be on Letterboxd. I'll never.
Letterboxd is 90% lies. It is false. It's me false flagging stuff and lying. No, I promise you it is. I promise you it's false flagging.
Here I'll throw some out. Interstellar, absolutely. Man of Steel, The Social Network. Certainly a majority of the Marvel movies have been incredible. Into the Spider-Verse was a phenomenal movie. The Wolf of Wall Street was incredible. Joker blew me away. 1917 blew me away. Arrival moved me in ways that I'm scared to watch the movie again because I don't know if I can put myself through such an emotional journey as that movie demands you to go through if it connects to you. I love Blade Runner 2049. Certainly that film touched me deeply as well. What a Logan right there. That film right there is absolutely a life. That is my life now. This fucking movie is my life. The old man's still trying to hold on to the rager that he was in his 20s and 30s in order to succeed and survive. So I mean, that's an incredible film.
So Interstellar for you, huh?
Oh, I love Interstellar. Are you kidding? Okay. I know people think it's a cheesy ending, but
no.
A lot of films have been about love, for God's sake.
I just thought it was interesting that, because for me it's Inception of all of Nolan's.
Oh yeah, okay. I can respect that.
Decade, but
Inception's
not
great.
The hugest Inception fan over here, but I get why people like it. I'm gonna say Fast 5.
Wow, Fast 5. All right.
Did not expect to love it. I watched all the Fast and Furious movies in like a Stockholm syndrome kind of situation where we watched them all. For cinema bias, I had to watch Fast 5. Didn't like the first couple. Got to Fast 5, and I was like, "This is the best." Maybe it's because I've been up for like this many hours, but this is the best movie I've ever seen in my life. And it was such a. I'll never be able to separate from my experience of watching it with Nerd Chronic and this 24-hour binge of just being like, "Oh my god, this!" Now they're just like taking safes through the streets of Buenos Aires. Like this is a crazy movie. I love it so much. Getting the gang together. I love that movie a lot. I'm trying to think like what counts as 2000s, right? Or 2010s, right? So anything. Let's see. I got a couple of them. I'm looking them up. Okay.
Sicario.
Oh yeah. I really liked all the Rival was one of mine too, but all of his movies like have been great. I really liked Gyllenhaal being creepy again, so I really liked Nightcrawler.
Oh, Nightcrawler,
I'm one of these people who really loved him in Okja, which isn't the best movie, but I loved his performance in it. Let's see, I'm looking real quick. Oh yeah, Thor Ragnarok, which is what got me into Marvel in the first place.
Ragnarok is brilliant.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what else.
I would throw Sicario in there. Sicario is
the double,
that was the best film of 2015. I don't care what anybody says. It wasn't even nominated for Best Picture. It's
that's
fucking
great.
insult. Yeah. It's an incredible film that shows you what's really happening in this drug war and the black and white that doesn't exist. That it's all gray and people don't want to see how gray it is in these battles, man. So it's brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. The Double, which is Richard Ayoade. I love his stuff. And like I said, there's this is gonna go on no one else's list, but this is something me and Rick Radis did a podcast about. This Turkish horror movie called Baskin. It's real weird, really dark, probably the most intense horror film you'll ever see ever. But we did a podcast about it, and then the director, this Turkish director, was like, "Oh, I see you," and started putting up our stuff as the best review of this movie ever. So love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you got? What do you got, Brendan? What about on your end?
Inception, The Martian.
Okay.
Inside Out, How to Train Your Dragon. Arrival, Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
Marvel's The Avengers. One of those. So anyhow, that's it. That's it for me.
Okay. All right. I love it. What is that? Oh, is that a picture? Okay, thanks. Hi.
Oh, my mom doing something.
Much love to her. Yeah, people mentioned Jojo Rabbit. Soul mentioning Jojo Rabbit. Tushka saying Wind River. I agree.
Yeah.
That was a great thing to spotlight the Native American community for sure. Oh, yeah. Sean, our producer, saying we're 10 more likes to 100. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't hit that like button, please get us over 100 likes. Hit that thumbs up button if you're new to YouTube. Get us over 100 likes. That's always great to have here. Knives Out.
Get Out.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say Get Out as well.
Get out. Definitely.
Yeah. Get Out was an amazing thing.
Get Out was brilliant.
I don't want to go through the recency bias, but I'm checking out the stuff that I really, really loved over the past year. And it's a lot of recency bias. So, but I really loved, I'm trying to scroll back up. His House, which came out on Netflix. That was such an incredible use of horror through the lens of a non-Western canon horror. It was such a different kind of world. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's amazing. Babadook, stuff like that. Yeah.
I would throw in one of the greatest scenes ever in the history of films, and that is the staircase fight scene in Atomic Blonde. That scene is the greatest fight scene in the entire decade, and that includes the raid. So, I think that scene was absolutely incredible. Saw it again the other night in 4K, and it's just fucking amazing to see the fight. And it's the same guy that coordinated the fight scenes for Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk film that's out now, and the same guy that was the guy that fought Barry in the grocery store who had the daughter.
Yeah.
Daniel
I love
Burkhart.
That guy. He did the first John Wick movie.
Yes, the first John Wick movie.
He's awesome in that. I know I'm not going to get a ton of people on my side for this, but the Ari Aster films have been my thing. My Hereditary, Midsommar.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Midsommar, absolutely. Soul say What We Do in the Shadows. That's brilliant, and so's the TV show. You got to watch the TV show.
Oh, you got to watch the TV show. It's so good.
Jackie Daytona is the best character. All right, thank you, Brendan. Much love.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Drew.
Thanks for coming
in. Thank you.
All right, let's bring in Sean Berto. Said he wanted to say something. And also, Sean, please let people know if they want to come in live, what they can do. Oh, he's trying to put himself in the superior position. What's up, Sean?
You did that. You did that.
What do you got to say, my man?
Oh, well, first I'll do my what I have to do, and then I have a question for you guys. So, Outlaw Nation. So if you're watching us live, please hit the like button. And if you're watching us post, which I know a lot of you do, we appreciate it. Also hit the like button and also leave a comment as well. John reads the comments. He'll answer them if they're respectful. So please also leave a comment. So as you guys saw already, the link to come on live to ask John and VideoDrew a question. If you're $10 and above Patreon, you already have the link. In a little bit, I'll put the link in the live chat if anybody who's not a patron wants to come in and ask them a question. But if you're not a patron, why not? John has a lot of fun with us. We have hangouts. Yeah. We bust his balls a lot. It's a lot of fun.
It's true.
So if you click on the link, it'll bring you to Streamlabs. It'll ask you to verify your headphones and your mic. Please at least try to have headphones, otherwise we get echo and it's a little bit disturbing. And it'll bring you backstage, and then John will be able to bring you in at any time, and you guys can come in and ask a question.
Okay, there you go. Thank you very much, Sean. You said you had a question for us?
Yeah. So it's funny that Drew is on around this time.
Okay.
Because around this time last year, you guys did a show together.
Yeah.
And I came in live to talk to you guys. And the subject was about, real men love musicals and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Drew, I don't know if you remember that.
Do I remember Real Men Love Musicals? The idea of my me and John's unaired pilot show? Yeah.
So I bring that up because I brought up that I like Boys to Men, and they are a musical group, John.
They are a musical group, Boys to Men. What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, I said you think I think they're a band, and you thought I brought them up as my favorite band. You're like, they're not a band.
They're not a band. They're a musical group. There's a difference. Do they play instruments?
Not every band plays instruments. So
no. Every band that is a band plays instruments. Not every musical group.
Okay, so if they're up for an award, wouldn't they be in the band category?
No, they're never up for it. There's no band category in any of the award shows.
Okay, I'll play along. Sure. Anyways,
play.
The point I've tried to bring up is that was almost a year ago. And I just recently went back and looked at that. So I was looking at myself. I had my quarantine beard, and I was just like in a really, really bad place mentally. And I just remembered that it was the two of you together separately that brought me out of that funk and mind space, especially around that time. My grandmother wasn't doing well, and unfortunately she passed later on that year. But it was the two of you that kind of brought me into both of your separate communities and gave me like a home away from home type of thing. So I just want to, like I said, it's funny that it's almost a year ago to the day. It was actually April 3rd last year. So I just wanted to it's a great opportunity to tell you both now. It's almost been a year, and I just want to say thank you so much for taking me in and giving me an opportunity to be part of both of your communities. And I really, truly, truly appreciate it.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, Drew.
Please. Of course, Sean. Like you helped create the whole Live in the Dark thing, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, brother. I mean, like I don't know. I'm always humbled when people say things like that because I'm just an idiot out here talking shit about movies and sports and politics, man. And to hear that we can affect people and help them climb out of those things. It's a way of paying it forward because there are people that I listen to and watch who take me out of that, out of those places. So to be able to pay it forward to other people is an honor and a blessing, to be honest with you. So thank you, Sean. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, you just have to come to the realization, John, that's how some of us see you.
Yeah, I can't. I'll never accept that, to be honest with you. I'll never accept that because then the next step is cult leader, and then I'm sleeping with a bunch of crazy people. I can't have that.
I don't know about...
Drew knows how cults go. That's how it goes.
I know. It goes. You have more fun as a follower, but you make more money as a leader.
That's the thing.
In the office.
Yeah, exactly. That's for sure.
I don't know about any of that. I'm just saying that I think, John, people can relate to you because of how open you are by your past and how you dealt with struggles. And I personally can relate to that. That's one of the reasons why it took me a while, but to follow you I was a fan of you from Collider, but it took me a while to follow you on your channel. But once I did, I've been a fan ever since. So, and Drew, her starting her midnight streams of her on her couch just watching stuff, and then it started with a conversation like, hey, did you want to do more stuff in character? And that's kind of how our conversation started. And then to think that we'd still be working together a year later is just astounding me, to be honest.
It's crazy. It is crazy. It's nuts. But what isn't in 2021?
That's a good point.
Facts.
That's a good point. You just never know. All right, cool, Sean. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. Are you going to put the link in the chat?
Yes, I will.
Thank you, my man. It's great to see you. All right, that's Sean Barreto, the producer here on the Outlaw Nation show. It's very kind of him to come in and say such kind words, Drew. We got about 20 minutes left in the show, so if you want to send in a Streamlabs or a super chat, now is the time. Anything you've wanted to ask VideoDrew, talk about her match or talk about her movie tastes, her love of musicals. Where are you at right now with your love of musicals? I've kind of not been into musicals too much over the last few months. Usually they've been I think I've just been caught up on so many other things. Where are you at right now on musicals?
It's for me, it's something I posted recently on Twitter, which is I was like, film Twitter, post your favorite musical scene like from a movie. So it doesn't have to be a musical, like a musical, but post your musical sequence from a movie. And I got some really, really interesting responses. What I posted was the end sequence from All That Jazz, Bob Fosse's incredible, very dark, end sequence of Bye Bye Love, Bye Bye Life with with Ben Vereen, and it's just so moving, and I can't watch it without like crying hysterically. Also knowing that it sort of predicted his own death like a month afterwards. It's Roy Scheider. It's incredible. You guys have to see it. But also, it kicked off this whole thing. Phil Noble Jr., who runs Fangoria, jumped in with Phantom of the Paradise. Some other people jumped in with like stuff like which is one of my favorites too. Man, I love Phantom of the Paradise. But people jumping in with things that aren't even from musicals, but just like great musical sequences. Like from non-musical movies. Scenes from Whiplash, scenes from and like there's so much where like I feel like musical sequences in movies are kind of underlooked, and I don't know. I found like that's what I've been going through, these moments. I recently rewatched Chicago, which at the time I remember thinking this does not deserve Best Picture. Like this movie is not the greatest. And I was rewatching just one segment of it, like just one very creepy scene of the ventriloquist scene.
Oh, that's a great scene.
Yeah, with Richard Gere and Renee Zellweger, and I was like, this is some of the best like choreography. It's just it's one of the best shot scenes that I've seen in a while. Like it was just amazing. So yeah, I feel like it's always good once in a while to go back and be like, yeah, what musical scene? And I mean that even like music drops. What like music drops have been working for you in movies lately? That's good.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can talk about scores. The end of the entire ending of 2001: A Space Odyssey is an absolute musical score ending.
That recently came on my Spotify for some reason. Spotify's like, I guess if you like the music you like, you might also want to hear that like Daisy Bell song. Like, it's very creepy. And I was like, no, I do not want to hear that. But go ahead.
Okay. I want to answer the I think America from West Side Story is my favorite musical scene, probably. I mean, because it's such a great back and forth, and being Latino, I know those women and I know those men in terms of the way they approach it, right? Coming because I'm the son of immigrants, so I know my dad said some of the shit you see in America, and my mom has reacted that way as well, and so that always speaks to me. Huh? Well, yeah.
One of the greats, and also what's funny is you don't realize, but like Sondheim, that he wrote the lyrics for West Side Story. He was really young, but he was kind of adopted by Oscar and Hammerstein, and so like he wrote the lyrics to it, and you can tell because he's got some of this Tripoli wordplay. I mean, I don't want to be the people being like, who's one of the first rappers was Stephen Sondheim, but like he did a lot of wordplay that was very clever, and it took me long years to understand why she says "smoke on your pipe" and put that in. When she's talking in the beginning of America, it's because she doesn't understand the syntax, so she doesn't understand put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Right.
It's put smoke on your pipe and put that in. It's just perfect.
That's how my dad used to spell my name, Jonh. He never spelt it John. He always threw him off in terms of the pronunciation. So I hear what you're saying. Absolutely. I just rewatched the end of Whiplash the other day. Just was flipping channels. It happened to be on, and I was fucking transfixed. I forgot how much that ending is like, you're not gonna bully me, you son of a bitch. And it is fucking incredible. And J.K. Simmons doesn't get enough love for that scene. Everyone loves Miles Teller in that scene, but J.K.'s face as he's acting this transition from being pissed off to being happy, and then to being actually legitimately worried for Miles Teller, and then completely being like boom, and then Chazelle deciding to end it like that with no payoff either way is just genius. Just genius.
I mean, there's so many ways to read that ending that, like, you know, he finally got J.K. Simmons' respect, but like, if he did, isn't that just still the same trap? Isn't that still the same system? Like, I think that Paul Reiser, the way that Paul Reiser is looking in from the sidelines from that, like his own father is giving this look that I read very much as like, he's lost to me. Like, if this is what he's doing, if this is what he's doing, if this is whose respect he still needs to gain, then he is lost. Like, my child is lost to me. And I don't ultimately think it's a redemptive ending. I think it's an ending of somebody who has become absorbed into the mentality of, this person made me a better musician. Therefore, all the things that I went through were ultimately worth it. And he ultimately did have the right idea. And I think that's like a very sad ending. And as other people read it as, no, he's ascended past the need for J.K. Simmons. And therefore J.K. Simmons' respect has been won, but that is secondary to like what he's been able to do now that he realizes that he is the better musician and he has finally reached his potential. Like, J.K. Simmons now is like subservient to him, but that like is besides the point, because he's truly come into his own. I mean, there's so many ways to read it.
Chazelle is deceptively a more a depressing filmmaker, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in like the things he's talking about, the things he shows, the ruminations within his movies. Even La La Land is a depressing ending. He does not end up with her, right? And in First Man, for all the stuff he's accomplished, it still is kind of almost fractured his marriage. For what happens here, like you said, Paul Reiser looks at his son and he sees that his son has moved past him. His approval is no longer necessary for him. It is J.K. Simmons' approval. And once he's achieved that, now is he going to become some kind of hybrid of them both and torture some other young artist to seek his approval, right? The cycle continues. And also as men, the cycle continues of, you know, forcing the younger to seek the approval of the older within our gender as well. You know, that's something that could be looked at when you look at the end of Whiplash as well. So
I absolutely agree. I think there's so many things to be read. And I didn't love La La Land. I was one of these people who's like, it didn't really work for me for majority of reasons. One of which is that I really do think Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling have great chemistry. Crazy Stupid Love was like a proof to me that they have great chemistry.
Agreed.
But in that movie, they did not have great chemistry. I felt like they were just very brittle and at odds with each other. And when I realized it was supposed to be Miles Teller, I was like, that's completely changes it. Miles Teller as Ryan Gosling makes it a completely different movie, and one in which that brittleness, that sort of sourness, that chip on your shoulder works. Like, right?
You just unlocked that movie for me. Wow.
Right?
It's a totally different movie and a better movie with Miles Teller in that role, because it's more believable that their breakup happens the way it does. Yeah.
Not only that, but like, why he be that jazz guy, that white jazz guy explaining that, you know, like that as Miles Teller?
Yeah. Oh my God. You're absolutely right. Almost like a continuation of his character in Whiplash. Yeah. That's a great point, Drew. Jesus Christ. That's fantastic. All right. Let's see if we've got anything else here. Sean, did you put the link in the chat? Just checking real quick. No one's come in, so I want to make sure the link is in there. Okay, if you want to come in live before we wrap up here, please feel free. Sean, thank you. That's very kind of you, brother, man, with the very kind donation. Doug Developer, he says, thanks again. Thank you, Sean. Doug says, with the Oscars around the corner, is there an actor or actress whom you had really wanted to see win for narrative reasons but didn't? I really hoped Stallone would win for Creed, and I want the grandma to win for Minari for Asian representation. Yeah, Drew, is there an Oscar winner or Oscar loser, rather, that you felt should have won for that year and was robbed for whatever reason, and it really sacrificed the narrative of their victory, the joy that their victory could have brought you and people who are fans of that actor?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is not going to be like that's narratively it would have been so great for this other white guy to be nominated for anything. But Bo Burnham's performance in Promising Young Woman, I thought was such a nuanced, like it is such. If you guys haven't seen it yet, like the way that his character is almost like even near the. I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but like you're almost like on his side the entire time. Like his arc is the journey that I feel like is almost more the victim's journey than hers is. And like, so the way that the movie sort of makes you feel about him and the way he's able to play it off, because he is such a charming, great actor, I feel like was so effortlessly and expertlessly done. I really wanted to see him get a Best Supporting nom. I also really want to see Lakeith for Best Actor. I don't understand why he was Best Supporting. That was the craziest thing ever.
Yeah, it's literally his story. Daniel Kaluuya is that real life person part of the story? Yes, absolutely, but not the main story. It's his story that's the main story, and the journey he goes on as he essentially becomes a pawn to this white FBI agent in this situation, who had been fighting for civil rights, and now was using a black man to undercut another black man who was trying to fight for better treatment for his people in his community. Yeah.
Well, exactly. And then what would I have done? I would have put Jesse Plemons as that other Best Supporting, because I feel like he was so good in that role. Jesse Plemons is one of these actors that I really want to see get something soon, because he is just he's a chameleon of a certain type. He's the next Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like, that's what we have going on for next few months. So Philip Seymour Hoffman is Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, that's a great point. I would say the Eddie Murphy loss for me was big in Dreamgirls, because I felt like Eddie had kind of come back from this wasteland. And I know he'll say he was working consistently, blah, blah, blah. And I respect that. He's an actor who was getting paid for the Mulan stuff, for Shrek, certainly making money hand over fist as an artist and a performer. But drama is something that a lot of people don't necessarily connect to Eddie, even though 48 Hours is drama in it. Beverly Hills Cop has drama in it. And these were the films that kind of laid the groundwork for him as a performer. And then you get the comedies. But he was lost in Daddy Daycare Land and Doolittle Land and all this shit to do what he did in Dreamgirls. And he was only in it for the first hour. That progression of his character from the singing guy who's all fun, hitting on Anika Noni Rose and being all about, showing them the path, to where he becomes aged out, and he loses himself in trying to get attention and has no concept of how to age out gracefully. And the way they ended and the way he reacts to everything, it's incredible work from Eddie. And to have it go to Alan Arkin, who didn't do anything different that he hadn't done in a million other films in Little Miss Sunshine, I thought was a bit of a loss. And Doug, I'll agree with you. Sylvester Stallone not winning for supporting actor, and Mark Rylance, no, it's not that he didn't do good in Bridge of Spies. It's just not, the narrative wouldn't have been as powerful, sadly. So
did he get a nomination or win for Dolomite Is My Name? Because
I don't know if he got nominated for Dolomite.
Because oh my God, him and Dolomite Is My Name. Wesley Snipes and Dolomite Is My Name.
Wesley's great in Dolomite.
Dolomite Is My Name should have won a bunch of. I mean, because Ed Wood is one of my favorite movies. Larry Kaczynski and I always forget the name of his writing partner. They create the best narratives about Hollywood ever. About people. They also wrote The People versus O.J. Simpson, and they did The People versus Larry Flint. But they have two kind of archetypes of stories that they write. One of them is about Hollywood outsiders whose idea of success is very different than the mainstream idea of success, but it really is about community and bringing together people to find your singular vision about what creative success looks like to you. And and I think that's a beautiful kind of story. And Dolomite Is My Name is a perfect example of it. That movie was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. And it wasn't nominated for any Oscars at all.
Oh, damn.
Not a one. But it did win. It was nominated, for a Golden Globe. It was nominated for Best Motion Picture Musical Comedy. And Eddie was nominated Best Actor Motion Picture Musical or Comedy. And it was listed as one of the top 10 films of that year by the National Board of Review. Let me get your thoughts on that as we wrap up here over the next few minutes here. Mickey Rourke should have won for The Wrestler. Absolutely. I love Sean Penn and Milk, but I think Mickey Rourke should have won for The Wrestler. Absolutely. Sean Penn had already won for Mystic River. So is that my daughter in there? Anyway, what do you think about Oscars at this point? Drew, have we moved past these things? Do we care about Oscars anymore? I'm at a place where I don't really care about Oscars. I care about attention for a film. I care about the box office for these prestigious films, these important films. I care about that more than giving them a gold statuette. The ratings have been down over the last few years for everything. The Oscars, the Emmys, the Grammys, the ACM Awards, whatever you got, the ratings have been down. Do you think we're moving as a society past giving trinkets to media and moving more into appreciating it by giving it our dollars?
Well, I think what's interesting is I think it's less about giving the trinkets. I think like the awards are so great. I think what's really interesting is what we've been seeing around the HIPAA, like the foreign Hollywood foreign press stuff, like and being like, well, look at how messed up that is. Like, look at how messed up the system is for that. Like, that's that's kind of where my focus has been, being like Hollywood foreign press is like we never really delved into just who's doing the voting, like how messed up that kind of is. I still believe that there's a space to be like, yes, let's give an Academy Award for something. I think it's the spectacle of it that probably will be going away and will be less important. I think if we do watch the Golden Globes or the Emmys this year, we notice like it's way more like, because of COVID, it's been way more of a like toned down affair. And that doesn't make the awards any less important, but it makes the spectacle of it. When we talk about like celebrity being like this own industry for its own sake. Yeah. How about you pick up the award for doing a good job and then you just like do your 2-second speech from like your home and then that's it. Like, it doesn't have to be this thing where it's like, because you were invited to the Oscars because you were nominated, now you get to wear a $90,000 gown with $40,000 worth of like diamonds dripping off you. And that is the story. And
you can still do the powerful speech from home. You can still do the incredible speech that Tom Hanks gave, or the speech that Stallone gave at the Golden Globes, or you can still do all those incredible speeches right from your home. You can still put on your dress or your suit or your tux, accept the award, and then deliver the honest response. It doesn't have to be at a gala and all this kind of shit. I mean, all that hubris, all that celebrity hubris and gaudiness needs to be done.
And I think that's exactly when we talk about like mission driven, like, or socially driven, like context, like I think that's where this COVID stuff has actually really been helpful. Yeah, because it's sort of like stripped everything down to like, Jason Sudeikis. Ted Lasso was like one of my favorite shows.
Oh my god,
Jason Sudeikis showing up and like giving his thank you speech after his tough year of divorce, like in a sweatshirt, like and it's not to say that women couldn't show up. A couple of women did show up in like kind of sweats and stuff, and like just take away those like that idea of Hollywood glamour, and Hollywood glamour being the sole arbiter of what is beautiful, what is good, and what we should be paying attention to is really important.
I think of the great speech in Inherit the Wind, where Spencer Tracy's character is talking about this golden horse, this golden hobby horse that he'd seen in the window, and he always wanted it, walked by it as a kid, and his father told him, if you save up enough money, you can buy it. It's this great glowing thing in the window. He bought it. He rode it for about 5 minutes and it broke in half. And that's the truth there about the delusion of something that is so glittery and beautiful. In fact, it's kind of hollow inside and breaks easily. And that's the thing at the end of the day. And hopefully one day we'll move past that once and for all. And have a better society overall for it, and have people being hated less by the other side because they see them as Hollywood liberals, or whatever you want to, coastal elites, or whatever the stupid.
We'll see so much less cancel culture when we'll see that there's more proliferation of voices that are able to happen.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. One last question before we wrap up, Drew, from Alan Smithy, who was on earlier. Thank you, Alan. He said, thanks for having me on, Rocha. Great to see you, VideoDrew. It's awesome watching you both dominate the Schmoedown and doing it in style. Certainly. Her more style than me, for sure. Also wanted to say that VideoDrew shows have incredible credit sequences. As a famous filmmaker, I'm impressed.
Oh, that's all Danny, my co-host Danny Carvello. Yeah, he's available, guys. He's available for doing credits, sequences, anything like that. He's amazing. He's a Brazilian. Okay. So his currency is all Brazilian, so you can get him on the cheap too. So check his stuff out. I'll try to put a link to his stuff or you know what, Sean, put a link to his stuff in the YouTube comments, because I don't have
please
it
do.
Me. He's Sean. An amazing person and an amazing editor. So
Maybe I'll knock on his door. Aaron Klister says, VideoDrew, I'd love to know what is your favorite type of music, and also what is your favorite band or musical artist of all time. All right, we'll make this the last question. I don't see anything else. What do you got?
This puts me on the spot so bad, because my mind goes blank. All I can do is think of musicals. But let's see. I'm gonna go on my Spotify for 2 seconds and try to find something less dorky.
In the room where it happened.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I can think of. That and Bo Burnham songs that I've been listening to all along, or the Agatha All Along. Apparently what I've been listening to.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the Mountain Goats. I'm a huge Mountain Goats fan.
Okay.
There's this one song I cannot stop listening to called Haunted House by Sir Baby Girl.
Oh.
Just listen to that. That's my big drop of the week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir Baby Girl.
All Sir right, Baby Girl, Haunted House. Check it out.
Aaron Klister. Hope that answers your question. All right, let's wrap it up here. Aaron, VideoDrew, I can't thank you enough for being a part of the show tonight. It was great to see you. The 2 hours flew by. Hope you feel the same way. Please tell everybody what you got going on in your world, where they can find all the great content you are creating.
Yeah, well, it's VideoDrew. VideoDrew is one word, so just type that in when you search for anything. Otherwise, you're going to get video of Drew Brees doing something.
Retired.
Right, so check me out on patreon.com/VideoDrew to like get my schedule. On Mondays and Thursdays, we do the Video Chronic Pop Culture Quizzes. That's me and Nerd Chronic doing 20 questions, deep delve, inner geekdom style about one specific movie or franchise outside of like the inner geekdom thing. So it can be about any movie, TV, like or franchise. So we'll have to get you on, John, to do one of these. We've done everything.
I'm gonna throw it out there. Me versus Bibiani about one classic film. I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna throw it out there.
Dude. Anytime. We've done so many good ones. So yeah, check that out Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Tuesdays we do Cinema Bias with Alex Mack. That's a show that John's been on. We just celebrated our 1 year.
Congratulations.
That was awesome. We're going to be watching the Snyder Cut next Tuesday. So that's next Tuesday at 8. Yeah. Sundays is Live in the Dark with VideoDrew at 9 p.m. That's my in kayfabe Between Two Ferns Space Ghost kind of in character talk show. So I think I have a guest book for this week, but I don't want to announce it yet because they're not double confirmed. Also, like I said, check out, if you have Peacock, check out a show called RT Essentials. It is hosted by Mark Ellis. It's really cool. It's my first like writing for TV gig, and check it out. Other than that, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all these things, just VideoDrew.
Yeah, follow her on all those things, ladies and gentlemen. She's an incredible follow, and she's got great points of views, great analysis, and all kinds of stuff. So don't miss out on her points of views, and it's always fun to hear, which is why I'm happy we had 2 hours tonight to touch base on so many topics, so many subjects.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Video. It's a pleasure. All right, I'll let you go here and carry on with your evening video. We'll catch up and talk soon.
Yeah, talk soon. Thank you guys so much for having me. Bye.
All right, there goes VideoDrew. Can't thank her enough. She's been incredible tonight, and it's been so much fun to see her again. It's been a long time since where am I at here? It's been a long time since I've seen her. She's doing all kinds of great stuff over there on her channel, building up. And I love how she's been, on her journey, and it's real honest to see where she's been in her journey from a year ago to when I started the channel and have her come on a couple of shows and hang out with her a little bit and talk about how we were building stuff separately in our side of things, and to see where she's at now. It's incredible to watch other people's journeys as they kind of come into their own and figure things out here on this YouTube sphere. I'm still figuring it out, for God's sake. So, it's an incredible journey for sure. So follow her and everything that she's doing. She's such a unique voice in the sphere and such a necessary voice in the sphere. So please go and do all of that. And of course, give a lot of love to Nerd Chronic as well, who is doing all the things that he's doing on his Twitter as well, doing all the great promos for the Schmoedown and for other people's works that are other people's YouTube channels that are here on our channel. All right, much love to Sean Barreto, who produced the show tonight. Thank you so much, Sean. I know you were recovering from being sick, so we send you love. Hope you don't have that thing that's going around, if you know what I mean. I hope you're okay, and let me know, for God's sakes, what's happening. If I need to pay for you to get vaccinated, for the love of God, let me know. All right, and everything else, thank you so much for the Streamlabs tonight. Thank you very much for the Super Chat, the lone Super Chat. I really appreciate that. Please remember to subscribe to the channel down below. We just crossed 16,600 subscribers just a few minutes before we started the show. So excited for that. Let's start moving towards 17 and then on to 20 and beyond. Aisha Kenya, as I've said this before, she's predicting that we will cross 20,000 subscribers before June. From her lips to God's ears and back down to YouTube, it would be fantastic. I've got some announcements hopefully coming soon. I had a really great meeting today with a podcast network, and the possibilities there excite me. Nothing's done. It's all knock on wood. We'll see what the contracts say, but could be a lot of fun. Also, a new show is coming to the Outlaw Nation channel. My co-host may or may not have been on tonight on this in the chat, but it's something fun that we've been kicking around and kind of developing for over a month now, and I'm excited to be able to announce it very, very soon, and we shall see. But you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Don't forget, tomorrow, a live from 5 to 6:30 p.m., me and Laura Kelly doing a live episode of the Jedi Way, talking about the Kenobi news, talking about the Bad Batch, all of that, and then 7 a.m., Thursday morning, dropping the newest episode of the Geek Buddies. Look for my Kong or Godzilla versus Kong review coming out this week as well. Go see Nobody. I put my review down for it, but go see Nobody. It's a fantastic film with Bob Odenkirk. And then what am I working through right now? I still have to finish Queen's Gambit. I started watching that John Wayne Gacy thing. Oh, Breeders. Ladies and gentlemen, if I can recommend one show to you on Hulu right now, and if you're not a sensitive soul, I recommend Breeders, a fantastic British show that is out there it's on Hulu. It's on FX originally, but it's on Hulu now. Both seasons on Hulu. Please watch the show. Martin Freeman, Martin Freeman from the original Office, the British Office, from The Hobbit, from Marvel, from all kinds of things, with Daisy Haggard. Some of you remember her from Episodes. She's the one that's like, she's an incredibly funny actress, British actress. Watch there, and they're raising 2 kids in Britain, and it's brilliantly funny and touching and moving and deeper than you think and funnier than you think and challenging as a comedy show, a British comedy show. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So please watch it. All right, that's it. That's all my recommendations. You guys have been amazing. I love you all. Please be well. Take care of yourselves. Oh yeah. This weekend, if you haven't been listening to someone, thank you, Arturo, for reminding me. If you haven't been listening to me and the Lady Outlaw on stereo, every Saturday and Sunday, we have been reviewing the MCU movies in release order. She's never seen them. And if you knew the Lady Outlaw, she swore she would never watch these Marvel movies. Well, in an effort to get me to put away my dishes more consistently, and in an effort to understand WandaVision a bit more, she has been motivated to watch these movies in release order, and she's been brilliant. We've sat there on stereo for like an hour and a half to 2 hours talking about it and taking your comments as well. We just finished doing Captain America, the First Avenger. This week, we'll be tackling the Avengers. I think we'll have to do it on Sunday because her birthday is this week. Her birthday is in a couple of days. And so we're going out on both Friday night and Saturday night to celebrate her. And why not? She deserves all the celebrations. I love her madly. So, but come and be a part of us. Follow me at The Rocha Says there as well. And follow her at Lady Outlaw on stereo where we do that. All right, that's it for me. I'm out of here. You're all the best. I love you madly. Thanks for all the support as I took on Lightning Liz Shannon Miller this past Friday, and there will be more to come, just not for a little while. There will be more to come. And, I saw Ben Bateman on Schmoedown backstage starting all his mess with Craig and Gucci. Very funny stuff. Nice try, Benny boy. Nice try. We're made of strong walls, my man. This is Helm's Deep, son. You cannot break us, bud. You cannot break us. But keep trying. I appreciate it. Keep trying. I'll see you in Ross Dress for Less when you're picking out your new suit. All right. I'll talk to you all later. Be well. Take care of yourselves. And we'll talk to you next time on another brand new episode here of the Outlaw Nation. And don't forget what I say at the end of every show. Whatever you need to do to get through the next second, next minute, next hour, next day, next week, next month, and next year. My friends, I want you to do that. You never know what's waiting for you on the other side. I know things have been tough. Life's been tough. But if you find your way through it, whatever you need to do, listen to music, take a walk, watch a movie, watch a TV show, talk to friends, reach out, spend some time with yourself. Whatever you need to do, get through those tough times, please find your way to do them. You never know what can happen for you, okay? 2016 almost took my life. Look how incredible my life has become. It's not without its tough times, but look at all that's happened. If you just keep moving forward, you never know how the doors can open for you. So I love you. That's it for me. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.